And welcome to Fankhauser Reserve here in beautiful Gold Coast to Southport for the 2018 NEAFL Grand Final, all part of the Tribal Sport Finals Series. Michael Price is my name. I'm here calling the action with Mark Kanga Kennedy. It's been a great NEAFL season 2018 that culminates with a Grand Final. The top two sides, Kanga, first versus second.
Well, I think the right two sides got here, didn't they? Southport, they had a good win over Aspley last week, and the Swans, they were very workmanlike against Canberra. So it's all set up for a wonderful game today.
I think so. The academy kids for the Swans, last week I got to call that game against Canberra. They are a phenomenal bunch of young kids. They've got pace, they've got skill, something that Southport should be wary of, even though we're going to be playing with 9 listed AFL players today.
Well, pace and skill are one thing, but they play to the structure and they play the Sydney Swans way and the way they want the game to be done on their terms, on their level. So that is something that Southport, whilst they don't have the number of listed players, the Swans, the Southport are still going to have to be wary. They're going to have to bring their A game to get the job done today. Yeah, the bigger bodies of Southport, I think, where it could be won.
Ironically, for a state league club, Southport have got 122 games of AFL experience versus the Swans 19. That's Seb Tape, that's Andrew Boston, El Mucho, and also Ryan Davis and the like. So they have got that AFL experience, Kanga, the bigger bodies. It's all set for a really big match between two disparate kind of sides.
Yeah, and importantly for Southport, it's spread all across the ground. So they've got a lot playing down back, and you said Seb Tape and Ryan Davis, but then you push through the middle, that Josh Clayton and Andrew Boston, and they can push forward and kick goals. So they're going to be well spread, well organised, and the Swans, we know they're going to be well organised, but don't discount what the Swans are going to bring. What I see as a potential match winner in the big man in Darcy Cameron.
Yes.
He has been phenomenal. Second in the NEAFL MVP. He scored 39 out of a possible 40 votes in the last 4 home and away matches. Up against Big Jed Turner. That is going to be a pivotal clash in this game, I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Jed Turner did a good job, though, against Jake Spencer last week against Aspley. So, look, again, he's going to have to produce that. His ground level work for a big fellow, Jed Turner, was quite good. Now, conditions here today, Kanga, it is a beautiful day on the Gold Coast. We're looking at mid-20s, a little bit of a wind, which will be I suppose going straight across the ground, straight towards us here from the scoreboard side. So a good day for footy. The ground is in perfect nick. Do you think we're going to have a bit of an open game, or it will be that hard final slog?
Well, as far as Southport will want, they'll want the vast expanses of Fankhauser Reserve to be their real advantage. And the Swans are used to playing in the SCG, the smaller ground, so they really have to try and keep it in tight. Contested footy is a hallmark of their game. But I think Southport, they're going to really try and open things up. And what I'm looking forward to the most is how their small forwards are really going to come into the game.
Yeah.
Wade Hancock, the Mitch Johnson, of course, who leads the goal kicking for Southport. He's kicked 50 goals this year. And Tom Wilkinson, he has been a revelation this year. And going back the other way, I think we're going to really rely on Jordan Dawson as being one of the main men going that way.
Yeah, and I'm particularly interested in James Rose. I think he's got that potential, and we saw it again last week. He kicked 4 goals against Southport back in May this year. He is a match winner, and alongside some of those younger academy players, your Sam Wicks, your Bailey Stewart, who is a phenomenal young player, considering he is an academy member. He is the top tackler in the NEAFL side for Sydney this year. That is a great thing, and it shows you the, I suppose, the intensity of that young group of academy members. They're really bullish about them, and I can't wait for this game today, Kanga. It's the big, strong bodies up against the pace and youth and enthusiasm of Sydney. An absolute cracker here to unfold at Fankhauser.
Well, we know they're not going to die wondering, don't we? It's going to be fantastic. And what we do know is a couple of NEAFL rising stars in amongst those boys from the Swans Academy that you mentioned there. I tell you what, the scene is set. It's going to be an absolute pearler. Looking forward to it.
Can't wait to get onto it here. The Tribal Sport NEAFL Final Series for 2018, the NEAFL Grand Final between Sydney Swans and Southport here at Fankhauser Reserve. A little earlier on, Ethan Mackey, who will be doing some boundary work for us today, caught up with both coaches.
Joined by Southport Sharks coach Steve Daniels. Steve, welcome. Massive day for the club today, obviously.
Yeah, no, it's terrific. It's great to be here, obviously. You play football, as we all know, to play finals football, and if you're lucky enough to get through the grand final, it just makes it even more special, doesn't it? So we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And your young players getting settled in today, how important is the influence of guys like Ryan Davis, Seb Tape, been around the club this week, of course? You've coached 11 grand finals, 6 wins for yourself. There's a few guys throughout this side, the Reeveses and the O'Sheas of the world, who haven't exactly been on this stage before. How have they sort of settled down from the win over Aspley last week and just come back to earth for a bit?
Hopefully they've settled down okay. And you're right, we've got a number of players. This is their first grand final, so it's a whole new experience for them. But as you did touch on, having those senior players around that have been involved in grand finals before, they've been terrific in their guidance and helping them out. So it's been good.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're the Sydney Swans, big opponent today. Your round 7 match against them was the only time you faced off against them this season. Of course, probably one you don't exactly want to look back to too much and move on from. 88 points that day. How much do you read into that contest? Of course, their side shapes up pretty differently to what it is today. Yeah. How much do you sort of look back at that result? Inside 50s were a massive differential that day, or do you just sort of look past that one and move on to today because you are playing a completely different brand?
We look past it.
Yep.
We look past it straight away. We weren't great back then. It was at the SCG. We lost a couple of players very early, from memory, when we went over there. They were terrific. And I think it was a bit of a thing for our boys at the time. Southport's never beaten the Sydney Swans, so I'm not sure whether too many people know that. So it was a bit of an issue for our younger boys, I suppose, going over there. They got a little bit overawed by the occasion and what we're trying to achieve, and we couldn't do it. So my new motto we're running with at the moment as well, I'm going to beat them once. Yeah. And let's just hope we beat them once today. And it's in the biggest game, of course, of the year, and that's on grand final day. So we're certainly hope we can get the job done. We've put a fair amount of work into it, and we're more than confident going into this that we can do it.
Absolutely. Now, Big Jed Turner had a massive job against Jake Spencer last week. Did a great job shouldering a lot of that ruck load with Josh Baxter coming and chipping in. Probably a bigger task today on Darcy Cameron, who obviously finished second in the NEAFL MVP. What's the task for him today with Jed? Is he going to get a chop out from Backy in the ruck, or Darcy Cameron? How do you nullify his impact at ground level as well as his hit-out work?
I think he'll get a little bit of a hand from Hawley, of course, who plays forward. So Hawley will help him out there. But Jed will tell you he was a difference last week in the Aspley game. That's why we won. Jed reckons it was all about him.
Run with that.
He'll run with it, don't you worry about that. But look, he was terrific last week, wasn't he, the way he handled himself. And look, I'll be honest, Jed had a little bit of pressure on him going into that game. Spencer got hold of him the 2 previous games we played Aspley, and he really gave their on-ball his first use and was terrific. So Jed was very mindful of that. We had a discussion. Of course, he came out last week and was fantastic. So this week, Jed knows the importance of his role coming up against Cameron, and he'll be raring to go.
It's certainly going to be a big handful to manage. Now, this turnaround, you came to the club 12 months ago. Jared Field got you down here and said, look, we've got to turn this around. This time 12 months ago, you're sitting second last on the table. You've come in and seen the job to do. What's been the biggest thing you've had to shift around to get the boys to where they have been? Is there one thing you can narrow in on, or is it a number of things that you've had to...
Look, it's probably a number of things. For me, personally, it was a really hard decision at the time to make, first of all, to come to Southport. So, obviously, being at the Suns, and Marcus and Mark Evans were terrific there, in being honest, well, with myself as a coach, saying, look, we'll look at you maybe staying on, but at the moment, until we appoint a new coach, because Rocket had been moved on. So I was kind of in limbo. And to be honest, Southport, kind of come at the side, and I just thought, do you go to Southport for a couple of years, or do you hang around and stay at the Suns? And look, who knows, I might have got the chop, 8 weeks down the track like a couple of other coaches done, but you don't know. So I chose at the time to make that decision, and I've got to admit, and I'm really honest when I say I didn't know whether I'd made the right decision, because all of a sudden the culture and that at Southport was brought to my attention and what we had to do. So look, we started from scratch. We got a number of new players in. I was lucky enough to get Matt Lappin, of course, who I'd worked with at the Gold Coast Suns. Aaron Cornelius come in, and I suppose we started to set it up, and here we are now today, grand final day, and it's exciting. So I just hope the boys really deserve it with all the work and that they've put in, and I just hope we can get the job done. But I can't really just pinpoint it on one thing. The players it's a range of things. The coaching, the way we've done about it, my 2 assistants are outstanding. The boys have been outstanding, because there's times where we have them in the room there for probably 15 to 20 minutes longer than what they want to be in the room, just with learning edits and everything that we do. So and they've been great that way, and they've really brought in, and of course the people around the club, the culture, obviously.
Had a massive part to
It's
do with that.
just changed. Yeah, everything has changed the way we go about it now and what we want to achieve. So let's just hope we can get it all done today.
Absolutely. Now the Sharks here, you like to do things in decade increments, of course. 98, 2008. Let's hope for your sake that today's the day that you make it another decade.
Look, we're certainly hoping so. As I said, although it's a little bit windy out here, it's a great day for footy, and we're just going to make sure that we're up for it and we settle early and we get the job done. So we're really looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to the contest as well. Thanks for your time.
Thanks
Steve
very
Daniel,
much.
Southport Sharks coach. Joined here by Sydney Swans coach Tig Kennelly on a sunny and very windy day here at Fancows Reserve. Tig, welcome to Fancows Reserve. Of course, a pretty important day for the club.
Yeah, it's great. Look, it's anytime we're in a grand final, it's been a testing year for us as a football club, both seniors and reserves, with a bit of adversity and a lot of struggles at times. But it's great to be at the big dance, certainly.
Absolutely, and I know there's a lot of young guys within this group, a lot of academy players, of course. Someone like yourself possesses a lot of experience at this sort of a level. How do you settle themselves down after a gutsy win over Canberra last week? I know that they would have been excited over, getting past the preliminary final. How do they relax and come back down to earth from that and settle into the nuts?
There's a lot of excitement in the rooms after the game, and it's great. You've got to celebrate those wins and celebrate the fact that you're playing the grand final and embrace it. Embrace the fact that we're playing in the grand final. And look, we're very much about the process and narrowing our focus on the game. At the end of the day, it's still a game of football, and we're not curing cancer. We're not inventing the wheel or anything or revolutionising things. We're playing football, and we've really narrowed our focus on the process, enjoying the occasion, because it is a good occasion for a lot of those young men.
Yep. Now, James Rose last week, 2 goals and 30 odd touches. He was fantastic. Coming up against a pretty tough contested ball beast in Southport, of course, with Boston, Clayton, Tyler Roos, those sorts of guys in there. How do you go about nullifying the impact of the midfield of Southport and really taking advantage of Darcy Cameron in the ruck and trying to expose them?
It's a real strength of ours, they're second in the competition for contested possession, but guess what? Who's number one? The Swans. So that's the game it's going to be. It's going to be a contested brand of football, and that's where we've played our football all year. And why we play the brand of football is because when you come to finals, you don't change the style of football that you play, and that's what we've done from senior football and to the reserves the past 20 years almost at the football club, and it won't change today the way we go about it. But certainly that group of 3 or 4 inside that they've got their mids, they're going to get a lot of go forward at times, and it's just how we can handle it as a back six and get some rebound from it.
Yep, absolutely. And now reverting to their forward line, of course, possessing a bit of a smaller forward line, Southport, with Wilkinson, Johnson, those sorts of guys down there. Do you change anything in terms of the way you match up on them, considering they don't play as tall as the standard forward line, that standard 6? Do you change anything with the way you go down back?
Yeah, the 12 forwards from both sets are actually very, very similar. With both small forward lines, so it's going to be a lot of speed. Certainly in these conditions of wind, it will be a factor with the ball going in fast over the back and running on towards goals, with the speed. But a lot of it's about body checking those small forwards and not giving them a look at the ball at all. But they're great goal kickers. Johnson's a dynamite, dangerous goal kicker, and we'll certainly be on him. Josh Hall's lightning quick for a big man. So, Jack Mayborn, young Colin Verhoes had a super 6 weeks for us playing on small defenders.
Yep.
Colin O'Riordan, our captain, be organising things.
Yep.
So we're pretty confident that we can get things done.
Yeah, beautiful. Now, I don't want to harp on too much of a negative note, but 4 grand final appearances for the Swannies, of course, 4 losses by a collective of 17 points. So all been in tight ones there over the past few years. How much do you take out of that? I know you haven't been a part of the group, you've been coaching academy and that sort of a thing, but how much do you use that as a bit of a learning curve, or do you sort of move on from that when push comes to shove, and considering this is likely to be a pretty close game at the back end of the contest, how much does that sort of play on players' minds? Do they look at that and learn from that?
Yeah, it's a totally different group, a totally different football team that's played in the past grand finals for this football club, and like you said, the coaches are very different also. We haven't talked about it at all. I'm a very positive person, I'm a very positive coach. We focus on the now and what we can do about winning this game of football and not worrying about what's happened in the past, and we look forward to the contest and look forward to getting the process right of winning a game of football, which happens to be a grand final.
Yep, absolutely. Now finally, just wrapping up, a question from the outer, from one of our lead commentators today, Mark Kennedy. He asks, how do you actually pronounce your name? Is it Tig or is it Ty, or can you just give us a bit of an insight onto that?
Well, Mark, it's very interesting because my name, obviously T-A-D-H-G, can be a bit confusing for people, but it's Tiger without the R, Tig. So, it's not about us as coaches today, so don't be worrying about calling my name. Really call about the 22 players that we've got out in the park. I should be the least of your worries.
There we go, Kangi, you heard it here first. Tiger without the R on the end. Thank you very much for your time, Tig. Really appreciate that. All the best today, and hopefully for your sake you can get over the line and claim that illustrious premiership.
Good on you. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
Yes, Kanga, we have found out officially. Well done to Ethan Mackey on the sideline there with Tig Kennelly. So he did ask it. So it's Tiger without the R.
Yes, it is. Well, whatever it is, he's been a fantastic coach, hasn't he? Because he's got his side into a grand final. And look, we are looking forward to a magnificent contest this afternoon.
We have the Sydney Swans song going as the Sydney Swans make their way onto Fankhauser Reserve here. You can hear in the microphones there is quite a blowy wind. It is favouring the left of screen and blowing basically into the left forward pocket. You can see the Swans kneeling and all well organised for the team photo, as the Swans and NEAFL photographer TJL is one of the best in the business. Takes a good set of shots there, just waiting for the Southport Sharks to enter the fray. But here's their road to the grand final. Bob Batty, the road to the 2018 grand final. The Southport Sharks, Kanga called the season opener, which was round 2, Canberra by 62 points. They had a win. They started with 3 wins until they hit Sydney Uni in round 4. Bob?
Yeah, Sydney Uni did the job on them, as did Sydney in round 7. But look, it was a great return for Southport after changing their squad. About 50% of their squad or list have changed, and they did a marvellous job to sort of start the year pretty well, Michael. And by round 8, they were right up there with 6 wins, or 5 wins, 2 losses. And
very interesting round 7, Kanga. Southport, the big loss to Sydney by 88 points, the only time that they have met this year. And in fact, the big stat, Southport have never beaten Sydney in the NEAFL. They will need to do so, obviously, to capture the 2018 grand final.
Well, that game in particular was played at the SCG, and it was Southport that really couldn't keep up with the Swans. It was a hard, tough contest on a small ground, different conditions to what we see here this afternoon on the wide expanses of Fankhauser Reserve.
We also saw in round 8 that game, Sydney versus Southport, where the youngster in Bailey Stewart came out and really put his name in lights and said, I am here and I'm ready to be a big part of the Sydney Swans system. Rising Star nominee the week before, but then he came out was one of the best against Southport.
Yeah, he certainly was, and it's probably indicative of the amount of talent that's been shown right throughout this academy system. The Sydney Swans have consistently produced from their academy system, and of course we've seen Callum Mills and Isaac Heaney come through that academy system, and now we're seeing the likes of Bailey Bailey Stewart, the Mitch Rogers, the Josh Rayners, and a whole host of other players, which really put themselves in good stead to potentially get some AFL careers out of them.
The road to the 2018 grand final for the Sydney Swans. Bob, they started very poorly. By the time they got to round 6, they were 4-0 the Sydney Swans, but they did recover, and especially did they recover, had about 6 wins in a row.
Yeah, look, that it's the Bloods culture, isn't it? It came through. It took 3 or 4 rounds to get it right. They were all close losses. They were really within a kick of winning all those, but then they turned it all around. And as you said, you just summed it up, Kanga, that big win over Southport in round 7. Sydney Uni, that was a big win. Sydney Uni were, I think, top of the ladder at that stage.
That basically rolled Sydney
round
Uni.
9. That was a big win. And look, it's you mentioned those younger players and those academy players. I've watched the Bloods culture over a number of years, and it starts right from their academy. Ty Kennelly's been involved in that in the under-18 program, and also all the way through. They've got that culture of really playing to a system and a structure, and they do that beautifully. And the young kids today, I'm certain, will do that again today.
Well, one other game I really want to focus on is that round 13 clash where they beat the Brisbane Lions up at Burpengary, I thought it might have been, or Moreton Bay Sports Complex it was. And tellingly, they only had about 8 or 9 listed players on that occasion, and they came up against the Brisbane side that had 15 listed or rookie players in amongst them. So they've showed that their academy kids can get the job done, and that their stars, these stars that they have, and some of those that they possess even today in the Rose, the Cameron, the Bells, the Stoddarts, the Browns and the Styles, amongst others, and of course Colin O'Riordan, they are going to be very, very competitive and really carry the side along with those academy players.
Absolutely vital. They may not have the AFL listed as opposed to the 16 or so that they might have been running around with, but they have certainly got some speed, enthusiasm and agility. See the Swannies warming up as we speak, and again, I just repeat, there is a howling wind coming straight from across the field, straight at the NEAFL TV commentary box through Bar TV, sitting in the Wally Fankhauser clubhouse here on the wing of Southport. We're broadcasting from the Cabana Lounge, and there it is, the 2018 NEAFL Premiership Cup. You can see the black and white and red and white streamers each side of the cup getting blown. That's coming straight at us here on NEAFL TV, Bob, and slightly to the left of screen. Now, we were talking about the Swans Academy strength. They've used a record number of non-AFL listed players today over this course of 2018. They have used 39 current or former Academy members this year. That is an incredible effort, and on average they've been at least 10 Academy members running out every week in 2018. That is showing faith in the youngsters, and they have probably got the best bottom 13, I reckon, of anybody in the league.
There's no doubt about that, and as we mentioned earlier, their culture, and they learn right from the start when they join the academy at what the Swans are all about, how they play, their structures, their systems, where they run to, all that, and it's no luck or fortune. It's just great organisation. They're a great club. They're always, if they're always really giving their best, and I think today's going to be no exception. It's going to be a real red hot go. Southport Sharks, Sydney Swans.
And today also, just to show you the strength of the Sydney Academy, it's the AFL Sydney Under-19 Division 1 Grand Final today between the UNSW Eastern Suburbs and North Shore. It features 20-odd academy players for Sydney as well as this. So they have got strength, they have got depth, and they've got some exciting youngsters we'll see today. Former AFL umpire Brett Ritchie's going to be leading proceedings today for the umpires. Canberra's Nick McGuinness and Queensland's Andrew Adair as well. The umpires and both sides are lining up, and we're just about to get ready for the national anthem. Traditionally, you can see the breeze blowing in the umpires' shirts there as both sets of teams get ready. The 2018 NEAFL Grand Final. Oh, there you go. There is some Swanee support here, and of course, plenty of Southport Shark support. The home ground, Fankhauser Reserve here on the beautiful Gold Coast. The 2018 NEAFL Grand Final just about to get ready to go underway. Michael Price and Mark Kennedy calling all of your action, and the Encyclopedia of Queensland Football, Mr. Bob Batty, with your special comments. Bob, just quickly, your prime movers, who you see as being influential in this match, and I'll get a prediction from you.
Yeah, look, there's no doubt that Southport have to really go hard with Cameron in the ruck. He was very good last week, Turner, against the big boy from Aspley, and I think he can do that job again. His confidence would be sky high after really doing a great job last week, and I think he can do the job on Cameron, but Cameron can go forward as well, so they've got to watch when he goes forward. O'Riordan and Dawson are the two. Dawson didn't play last week. He was the spare and the emergency for their senior side, and he's going to be a thorn in the side of Southport. They need to match up pretty well on those three, because they're going to be the key playmakers for the Sydney Swans, but I think Southport can do it. I think at home, first time ever for a grand final at home for Southport, and I think they can do it.
Okay, let's get down to the boundary line. Ethan Mackey, it is pumping up here. What about down on ground level?
Here at ground level, ladies and gentlemen, very much so going to the northern end. So going to be pretty contested and pretty in and under this first quarter. These conditions might make it a bit tricky. So other than that, down here at ground level, doesn't look like there's too much sight of any rain coming through. 23 degrees, beautiful for footy. Should be a great afternoon here at Fankhauser Reserve.
Well done to Ethan Mackey on the boundary line here on NEAFL TV through Bar TV, and we are proudly supported by the good people at Elastoplast, as we have been all throughout season 2018. The 2018 Tribal Sport Final Series culmination, the grand final. Mark Kennedy, who do you see as the ones that need to get on board for either side? And I'll get a prediction from you.
Well, I think it's going to be one in the midfield, isn't it? And we say this all too frequently about football generally, but we have some hard bodies through the middle of the ground. For Southport, of course, you have Boston, or as we like to call him, the Mexican wrestler, El Mucho. And Josh Clayton is going to be very important through there. Lee Dale is another one that can push through amongst many, many others. And, of course, for the Swans, it's really going to fall in the arms of Jordan Dawson and Bell, and also Stiles and Brown to really bring it up. But for me, the difference has been all year for Southport. They've been able to be very flexible in their forward line, and this is where I think they can take advantage today between the likes of Mitch Johnson, also Wade Hancock, and of course the big surprise packet for me, Tom Wilkinson. They have been electric. I'm predicting between them they're going to kick 8 goals this afternoon and lead Southport to victory by, I won't say a comfortable margin, but by a couple of goals.
Well, they have started in the right way, Southport. Co-captain Andrew Boston has won the toss. Well done from Mr. Sam O'Connor, the Member of State Parliament, the Bonnie electorate, who threw the coin. And Southport will be kicking with the aid of that strong breeze to the left of screen to start proceedings here in the 2018 NEAFL Grand Final. You see on the Tribal Sports replay that the Southport boys, they're in there, they're huddling. Bob Batty, what are the co-captains saying to them?
Well, you know, I think they've got to keep it simple. They've just got to attack the football early, calm their nerves. That's the big thing in grand finals. The team that can calm their nerves, really get out of the blocks well and settle themselves down, get a real advantage in grand finals. And I think Southport kicking with that breeze, it's going to be good for them to, in this first quarter to get the tailwind behind them, but they need to get some scores on the board early.
They certainly do. They have got the home ground advantage. They know how to play Fankhauser Reserve so beautifully, as you would, it being your home ground and it being the place you train on as well, Kanga. You can see them really trying to spread this game open, the Sydney Swans, to show some pace, but the bigger bodies of Southport, they know how to play this big ground too as well.
And one thing that will be a message from Steve Daniel, it'll be, we need to crack in. The Swans brand of football is about contested footy and getting involved from that point of view. And we're seeing a little bit of push me, shove you already.
Oh, Andrew Boston gets involved with Brown. Darcy Cameron's getting fired up in the middle. Oh, we're all getting fired up here in the Cabana Lounge here at Fankhauser Reserve. Southport Sharks versus the Sydney Swans. It is the 2018 NEAFL Grand Final. I'm Michael Price, and this is Mark Kennedy to open proceedings. Umpire Nick McGuinness in the middle holds the ball aloft.
We'll wait for the bounce to get us underway here at Fankhauser Reserve. Grand Final 2018. Cameron gets the first ball down. Turner, his opposite, gets the ball going inside forward 50 for Southport, standing under it. O'Riordan coming through. Firewood, this will be a dream start! Cody Firewood, he kicked 3 in the preliminary final, and he came through and got proceedings underway. An amazing start.
What was that Saints song? Just like firewood, I burn up. Straight through, knocked it on the Tribal Sport replay, Bob Batty. This was a very good effort from the Swans player. But the front, that was too easy. He walked through traffic, read the wind to perfection and drilled it.
Yeah, look, too many players going for the mark there for the Sydney Swans. Their young bloke at the front had first connection with it, just couldn't quite hold it. Looked as though he got a high one, but great work, Cody Firewood. He has... in 3 games, really fired up that forward line, the boy from Mackay.
Umpire Adair bangs it down in the middle. Darcy Cameron comes through. Menteith, how did he get loose the ball there? Tyler Roos tumbles it to half forward. Well done by Wilkinson. He's tackled beautifully by McKellar, but it's a push in the back. Wilkinson will take it on the point of the centre square. He wheels around onto the right. That's a dangerous kick to the goal square. Hall gets his hands to it. and it gets stuck underneath there. It's the Swans appealing for a free kick. Umpire Brett Ritchie wants none of it. We'll ball it up right next to the goal square. Southport starting beautifully. One straight to the Swans yet to score.
It was Josh Hall will contest this one. The leaping, jumping jack gets over the top easily. Reeves through traffic. Clements just tugged down quickly by the Swans defence. And the ball right still in the goal square here at the northern end of Fankhauser Reserve. Cameron will take front spot here. Hall over the back. Mantee, kick didn't go too far. Brown just gets it through. It was rushed. It was trying to be claimed there for a goal, not to be. And it's a minor 1-1-7. And Swans a look under pressure early.
Yeah, Mitch Johnson looked very dangerous then, didn't he? Just got his toe to the ball and was just already across the line. So Swans have got to go tough here.
Sydney captain O'Riordan brings the ball in. Good handball over the top. Ends up with Reinhardt. Clever young player this. Kicks it into Elam. He did well. Punch forward. Well done by Brown. Handball over back to Reinhardt. Reinhardt to Stoddart. That actually floated nicely for him. Riley Stoddart, the speedster, needs to get up and get a wriggle on. He's right on the logo. Left foot. Inside 50, that's going to favour the Sharkies, and Mantee floats across the front and takes a good defensive mark. They'll get out of here relatively easy as well, Kanga.
Yeah, they will. Mantee best on ground last week for me. Gets it to Tate, now to the Tasmanian and Dylan Fife, and that's not the start he would have wanted. And that's out of bounds. He just sliced the ball.
So we're going to get a free kick. Jack Maybaum right in front of us on the interchange gates here. NEAFL TV through Bar TV, proudly supported by Elastoplast. Kick to right half forward. Cameron taken out of it there, and that was beautifully read. Southport with the numbers. Seb Tape, 40 games of AFL experience, and my prediction for today's Andrew Island medal goes back into the back pocket.
Finds Murdoch, another with AFL experience, goes out wider. There's a player there in file with the first goal kicker of the game. The outer reaches of Fankhauser Reserve. He was looking for his teammate there in Taylor. The ball just ricocheted over the boundary line. We'll have a throw in, outer side.
Interesting move there from Seb Tape to go onto that far side. That's definitely not the defensive side for Southport, but it means that they really want to attack down that far wing to make it easier for their forwards.
Throw in Jed Turner versus Cameron. Give that to Cameron with the left hand, even though it was disguised. Hacked out of there by Clayton into the middle of the ground. Good contest. Oh, just losing his footing there and giving Wilkinson the chop out. He cuts back in. It was bad luck for Mitchell Rogers. Inside 50, Mitch Johnson runs and takes the mark 40 metres out. Now he's going to have to aim this at the right point post or almost at that drainage ditch into the right forward pocket to get it to curl back. But that was unfortunate from Mitchell Rogers in the middle there. Didn't keep his feet.
Well, he almost held the mark, didn't he? And he
True.
was probably unlucky from that point of view, but it was the pressure applied to him that knocked him off his feet.
Mitch Johnson, originally from Berwick in Victoria. 3 goals last week. 45-degree angle to the left. We're right behind it here on NEAFL TV. You can see it. From 45, he starts at a little left. That's a sideways floater! Southport get their second goal, 2-1-13. The Sydney Swans yet to score. We've played around about 5 minutes of the first term here on NEAFL TV, the 2018 NEAFL Grand Final.
Yeah, we didn't get the chopper above when the national anthem was being played, but that helicopter's come in there by Mitchie Johnson. It's one off the boot that you'd think was going to just die and go left of screen, but beautifully judged there from Mitch Johnson. And as you said, the boy from Berwick who loves the goal, he's on the board, and the Southport Sharks have got their tails up.
Well, I've got to say, as soon as he kicked that, I thought that is going to almost go out of bounds on the full, but he wound it around nicely. Cameron from the restart just stood there, grabbed the ball, got it to half forward. Well done there by the Swans. They get it to half forward now. McGrath inside forward 50, looking for Stoddart, ball at ground level. So plenty of players. Veerhouse, he tries to come away with it, can't do so. The tackle comes from Ryan Davis. We'll have a ball up inside the Swans forward 50 on this clubhouse side of the ground.
Hamish Allen, who was just taking the ball there. He was a late inclusion last week. He was an emergency and came in, played quite well. Was running around in the Grafton Tigers last year for 2017. Swannies now in traffic. Dawson wobbles it inside. Rose, handball off now. It was Stern. Stern has a snap wide. One behind. Swannies on the scoreboard. 13 plays 1. 2 straight kicks the margin. Southport leads. 6 gone first term.
Murdoch with the footy. He'll come to this clubhouse side of the ground. Long kick. Darcy Cameron had front spot. Turner got the punch away. Manteet. That's a neat little tackle. Shouldn't say little tackle. Certainly a good penetrating tackle on Wicks. Have a ball up. Ruckman go at it again. Cameron gets it down. Doran for Southport. Wilkinson impacts the contest. Swans at ground level almost win the ball, but Johnson ends up with it. Dale just handballs it more so in hope than anything else. He was looking for a player, but Rainey got back there, but the ball batted further on. Wilkinson tried to go off the ground, a bit of Soccer World Cup style, but missed. And the ball dribbles out of bounds. A Southport attack.
Two young players to look out for. Wilkinson, the boy from Sandy Dragons for Southport. Very lively up forward, started well. And also Riley Stoddard, the boy that you like, the left footer from Eastern Rangers.
Oh, yeah, Riley Stoddard, smooth mover, played for Vic Metro in the under-18s. Here's another smooth mover, James Bell. He just got knocked off the ball. It's hacked forward there by Stern. Manteet could have copped one high from Elam, nothing doing. The Swannies are on the move. Styles, handball's out in the front of Elam. Can the big fella control it? He does. Tackled by Tape. He lets loose the ball. Kilpatrick, he's tackled. Southport's defence have got it covered at the moment. They take it out to Reeves, into the run of Dale down the corridor. He's going to kick it inside, 52 on 1. Wilkinson at the back, Maybaum at the front. Maybaum did well. Rove by Johnson, up and down the mine shaft. It's with Rayner. Punch to ground. Dale, well done Cameron. He cleared it. Can they get out of here? The Sydney Swans under enormous pressure. And a good tackling effort by Baxter keeps the ball in. We'll get a ball up 40 metres out directly in front of the Southport goal. They're leading by 2 straight goals at the moment.
Yeah, the pressure's on, isn't it? Every time. A little bit nervous. The breeze are going that way. Cameron just had to give the backhand up for a tap. The ball tied up under plenty once again. And Southport will look to keep this in their forward line. Baxter against Cameron, that's a bit of a mismatch. Swans might come away with this. That was Veerhouse there, kicks it out, look towards the boundary. If it goes out, it might be an interesting call, but no, it doesn't have to be because it was Taylor there that was happy to take the ball out of bounds. We'll have a restart there.
We've seen the crowd here, so plenty of people pumping through the turnstiles here, free admission at Fankhauser Reserves, the Southport faithful. Over 20 premierships in the Gold Coast Footy League, the QAFL, and they're looking for their first NEAFL one today. James Bell, smooth mover, wobbly kick. He kicks it in the Stoddart direction. It's spoiled. Nicely picked up by Taylor, cop one high. Umpire says so. Tyler Roos now accepts the handball. Now kicks it to a dangerous spot. Cameron's got this covered. Read it beautifully, the big fella. He's a good mark overhead. He plays on to O'Riordan. What they're going to do to Reinhardt, back in traffic. Gets it back to Veerhouse. And that's a dangerous kick. Southport turnover. Reeves has got it.
Reeves goes long. He'll just put it back from whence it came. Good spoil there by Rogers. With the ball at ground level. Coming away there with the kick was Reinhardt. Just in the direction of Bell. He decided he wanted to go. Play on was the call. Got around O'Shea. Just chips it back in board. Finds the big man and Elam.
I like the look of that James Bell from the Illawarra, the Swans Academy. Rookie drafted. He keeps it forward. It's with Styles now. Gets it inside 50. Tyler Roos does well. Played very good game last week. Around about 30 disposals as well. Gets it over to Davis. Davis out wide. Looking for Clayton. Clayton controls it with the one mitt. Ducks back in. Decides to retreat a bit. Gives it back to Roos. He's at right half back. They're going to retreat right back inside defensive 50 now. Davis and clearing it across to Tape. Opens the ground up. Now Filewood. He's got it in front of us in the NEAFL TV commentary box. Goes to left half forward. Maybaum reads it well. Wilkinson with him. Maybaum outpointed. Well read the bounce.
Yeah, the kick probably didn't advantage him, but that kick advantaged his teammate from Maybaum in terms of Stoddart. Gets it back in board. It was touched off the boot. So Brown's got to go. That kick's not the best one because underneath it there and taking a nice mark is Reece Clark. And he's happy to play on quickly. Gets it back and finds Taylor, who in turn just has a teammate there. And the Southport, they're going to move it through the corridor here. Here's Boston. Got it from O'Shea. Goes out wide. Dale has front spot. Styles in pursuit. Gave it to Clayton, who was under the hammer from Dawson. Well done by Jordan Dawson. And he and Clayton, I'll just have a little quick wrestle. Ball ricochets over the boundary line. Out of wing here.
They were out there, Southport. Jordan Dawson did beautifully, didn't he, Bob?
Yeah, no, he's a good player, isn't he? He can play in many positions, but he's crucial for Sydney in that midfield today. He's really got to have a blinder for the Swans to get up today.
Throw in out of side. Elam at the front, it almost hit El Mucho in the back of the head. He goes in and tackles his opponent. Ball stuck underneath. Umpire will come in and ball it up again. Last one up is Brown. Jake Brown from Coffs Harbour, the Sydney Academy listed. Of course, 22 disposals last week as well. Very effective player. It's towed forward for Southport. Cut off again by Kilpatrick. Weaves one way and then it's a long kick. But it's just favouring Southport. Beautifully read. Well done, Brodie Murdoch, as they go back again, Southport, to open up the fat side of the field.
Just get the feeling that breeze is just starting to abate a little. Kick just favours Clark on his favoured left. And that's not very favourable, though, the way it came off the boot. Well done by Stern. Right spot, filling the hole. Kick, just measures it nicely to Stewart. Right in front of us here on the NEAFL commentary position. Just held up, so we'll go long down the line. What's the big fellow in Elam? Punch came from Hall and over the boundary line it goes. Wicks was there and also O'Shea.
Yes, they really want to get that ball in quickly, Sydney, but Southport defensive really zoning off well, and a bit of a brick wall up there at the moment, so it's very difficult to get it right into their inside 50.
2 straight goals the margin. Southport lead. Elam in the ruck. Hall over the back, slaps it forward. Now Boston on the left foot. Long kick towards Johnson. He read it nicely, but it was good work at the front by McKellar. At the back, Sydney have got it. Rayner, handball off. O'Riordan, the captain for today. The Irishman kicks it towards the wing. Tyler Roos in traffic, dispossessed. Sam Wicks. Turner tackles. Bailey Stewart got around, got the handball back, but missed. Fife. Turner. Oh, it's a wobbly left foot torpedo towards Darcy Cameron. And he was never going to drop that, despite the best efforts of Wade Hancock.
Came late, didn't he?
Just a little.
Ruckman to Ruckman there. A poor kick from Turner, but he's certainly negating at the moment. That's a poor kick from the Swans.
Yeah, that's gone into the practice oval next door.
Well, that's probably more indicative of what we thought the breeze was doing. It's really pushing across the ground and it just got taken severely.
You can just see some of the flags in the back of the shot there, basically blowing straight across the ground.
Michael Mantee comes it, sits the ball up, looking for a contest from his teammates, and that's a very nice mark. I thought it was at least anyway. Clements, Hancock, inside forward 50. He just started at the wrong side to start with, and it swung further away from the point post, let alone the goal post, out of bounds on the full.
Mitch Johnson just running towards the goal square, doing the Shannon Knoll. What about me? Just asking for the centering ball. Didn't happen. So Sydney to bring it back in. And you can see that breeze holding it up. There's a plethora of players. Front and centre was Bailey Stewart, who took it over the boundary line. Seb Tate, one of them, flying at the back. And we will get a throw in. It's a good, healthy start to the game. We played around about 15 minutes of the first term on NEAFL TV through Bar TV. Michael Price and Mark Kennedy calling all of your action, with Bob Batty in the special comments.
Getting a bit gingerly from that ruck contest was Michael Mantee. Ball almost hit some players in the back of their head that weren't watching where it was coming from. It was Brown who was taken with the ball, and then Cameron, he lays a tackle. A little bit of angst amongst it as Dylan Fife gets up with the ball. A little bit of a mismatch there. Darcy Cameron and Dylan Fife. Mantee goes hard at it again, and he's tackled by 2 Swans, one of them being Rose, the other McGrath.
I think Jed Turner and James Bell have had a couple of little tate-a-tates in there as well. Probably fighting out of his weight division there, James Bell. The ball's hacked forward. Southport have got numbers. Oh, good mark. Seb Tate takes it right on the boundary line, and he will retreat. That's a dangerous kick. Very dangerous kick, looking for Davis. Well done by Stewart, who caused the commotion. Well done to James Bell, who towed it forward, but Davis was right with him. It was a great mark by Seb Tate, just not the best kick at all.
Yeah, Bailey Stewart, the Rising Star nomination this year. Boy from East Coast Eagles, he really has a crack, and that was a great contest there. Need to get James Rose and also the boy from Tipperary, O'Riordan, into the contest, Sydney.
Cameron front spot again. Clements couldn't take it cleanly. Fife, he'll get on it. He and Clements, the two smallest players on the ground, in stature-wise at least. Hancock, he's ripped down in the tackle by Kilpatrick. Coming through hard was Brown, but Fife lays a good one on him. Ball stuck under plenty. What's the umpire going to do? He's going to ball it up.
So you're never going to die wondering with a lot of these Swans youngsters. Very impressed with the way they're attacking the ball hard at the moment, Bob.
Yes, it's part of their culture and part of their upbringing.
Ball just harmlessly going over the boundary line. We'll have another throw in. Just quickly, some leading possession getters. Ryan Davis and also Tyler Roos along with Manteet and Seb Tate, 4 apiece. Reinhardt has 5 for the Swans, and Stern and O'Riordan 4 apiece for the Swans.
Throw in. Turner versus Cameron. Cameron down to James Rose beautifully. He goes through traffic. A long kick in the Stoddart and Stewart direction. Both of them go for it. It lands on the head of Stewart. He's got underneath. Now Stoddart gets back in, toes it forward. It gets past Wicks. Tyler Roos across. Lets loose the handball. Beautifully picked up there and shut it forward by Doran, but James Rose enters the fray again. He misses it. Roos hacks it forward. Darcy Cameron, long way to bend down, but he does it successfully. Gets it to Brown. Hooks it around inside 50. Stoddart comes at the ball hard. Lowers the eyes, and well done to Reeves, who read it beautifully and smashed it out of the arms of the Swans player. Reeves again battles forward. Brown, he hooks it inside 50. Southport could be advantaged by this, and they are. Beautifully done. Josh Clayton can't control it. Gets the handball away to Davis, and they're through the middle, Kanga.
They are, and the run of Fife. He just couldn't quite handle it, but gets the handball up now. Dale has his kick smothered, or there's a free kick back. It'll go to Fife, who got a push in the back from Bailey Scott. So just holds proceedings up just a little. They go out wide. Clubhouse side of the ground today towards Johnson. He let it bounce. Called for Boston. He copped a high one, did Johnson. Maybaum. And Boston doesn't like it. There's Johnson, and he's the one that copped it. But a little bit of jumper punching going on there.
It's going to be a free kick to Southport regardless.
And El Mucho, he says, don't like that. I'll put the suplex on, but he gets it from Johnson now. Kicks it to a dangerous spot. Swinging in the breeze. Standing tall at the back there. Very nice mark there by Jordan Dawson.
Good player, Jordan Dawson.
Oh, he plays tall, doesn't he? He takes a hell of a lot of marks, and just a very good utility player for the Swans.
It was, well, it ended up being a good kick towards Cooper Kilpatrick, but it just saw the wind take it and take it towards the boundary line. It's the young ponytailed man. That's barely the minimum. No, it's not even the minimum. James Rose ordered the play on, so they'll get out of here through running and handball. Sam Wicks picks it up. Colin O'Riordan. Now to Brown. Brown confronted. 45 kick. He bites off a nice one and gives it to Stoddart again. He is going to develop into an absolute jet for the Sydney Swans, this boy, the Vic Metro under-18 representative.
Well, he just looks like his shorts are going to fall off him. He hasn't filled out yet, does he? But he can run, there's no doubt.
He's got the hair for it as well, Kanga.
So ball out, half-forward flank, out of side. Kick came from Mitch Rogers, inside forward 50, and coming to meet it there was Elam. Couldn't take it. Roos just backpedals, gives it off to his teammate in Murdoch, I think it was, and that was skew-if is probably the only way I can describe that. Out of bounds on the full, and Stoddart has the ball.
He's got the ball in a string, hasn't he, Riley Stoddart? He just, wherever he goes, he looks dangerous, doesn't he? And this is a tough kick, but he on that left side, he's half a chance from there.
So from the boundary line, kicks it from 38 metres. It's across the face. Cameron was there to try and make amends. Roos gets a quick kick away. Swans can't take it with them there at ground level. That's Wilkinson there. Baxter's also in there as well. And plenty of players just pushing back into the Swans forward line. And that was Flanagan underneath there getting up with it.
We've gone over 20 minutes, so they're holding up okay here, the Swans.
Oh, they've held up all right. James Bell weaves through traffic, hooks it around with the right foot. Barely squeezes in for a behind, only their second score. But you're right, Bob. Southport scored their first 2 goals in the first 5 minutes, and since then the Swannies have held them up. So it's 13 playing 2, 11 points the margin in favour of the Sharkies.
That is a lovely kick in from defence. Finds Brodie Murdoch. Came from Ryan Davis. Murdoch down the line. Johnson over his head. Well trapped there by Wilkinson. Just holds onto it nicely. Johnson on the left. Baxter attacks it. Maybaum and just bounces off. Baxter does Maybomb, and he's hurt Baxter. He'll get up, though. O'Riordan, dangerous kick. That's a push in the back, though. Will go against Taylor and Jordan Dawson.
Oh, congratulations to both players for that effort. They both beeline the ball, Kanga. Bodies on the line stuff.
Lovely kick. Styles has one coming off the bench. It was Hall, but Styles gets around him. Goes now long inside forward 50. Stoddart attacks it. Clark was there as well. He emerged with the ball, so the ball comes back. I think it's going to come back again the other way. No, Maybomb just drops what he should have taken. Hancock's in there, hands and knees, gets the ball up. Clements, hot footy. He couldn't quite trap it effectively, and when he did, he was just set upon by a couple of Swans. And the ball up half-forward flank.
And let's go down to the boundary line. Ethan Mackey has a report for us.
Boys, Joshy Baxter just involved in a nasty contest there with Jack Maybaum. Really nasty one in the leg. Probably a corky in that quad, nothing more, but a solid collision at that.
Good work from Ethan Mackey on the boundary line. James Rose hooks it forward. Umpire Brett Ritchie has got a whistle on play. It was for a chop of the arms, and the free kick will go to Jordan Dawson. Didn't play last week. He lowers the eyes, and it just manages to get to Stern. Stern gets the ball around. That's a great ball from McGrath, Kai McGrath, who made his NEAFL debut in the finals last week. He's kicked another behind, so 3 points to Sydney, 2-1-13 to the Sharkies. Bob Batty.
Yeah, look, a good up-and-coming young player, boy from Warners Bay Bulldogs, would you believe? Lake Macquarie, Newcastle territory, so going to be a player, under-17 boy.
Ryan Davis, he was called to play on. He had to do his shoelace up, but the umpire said, no, kick it anyway. Boston has one short. Finds Taylor. So they're still inside their defensive 50. No real options, so they might have to come down the line. Dangerous kick. He decides to go back inboard. There's Davis, who now goes down the corridor. Dale didn't have front spot. Stern was pushed. Stewart couldn't get anything effective away. Plenty of players come at it now. This will be caught up underneath. And just the Swans doing well, because Sydney certainly hold the advantage of the breeze here. I'd say a couple of goals, and that's probably where it sits.
So the youngsters doing well for Sydney to hold up the Sharkies. Then there's Josh Clayton, who kicks it high up and under into the centre of the ground. Big pack flies. Smashed towards the circles. Getting there, Josh Hall. Weaves around. He's an athletic big man, isn't he? Handball off. Now the Sharkies are going to move towards the commentary position. It's kicked towards the interchange gates. Over the line. Out of bounds on the full. Just ill-directed there, Bob Batty. Sydney will be able to load up again.
Yeah, look, they're lowering their eyes, aren't they, the Sydney Swans, and doing the chip kick into the breeze, and they're hitting their targets pretty well. They're making it hard for Southport.
See the man on screen, Colin O'Riordan, the captain of the Sydney Swans today. What a third year in the AFL, in the NEAFL system as well, and he's the captain of the side. Well done.
So great effort.
Roos got the handball back towards Murdoch. The ball stays in. Roos goes again. Racking up the champion data stats. Dale just collects it nicely. The handball, though, wasn't quite as nice. Ellum just gets it for the Swans. It's touched in transit, so the play on is the call. Just off the side of the foot there is Schumach. He goes towards the boundary line. Cameron, he was going to shape the handball, but decided to hang on to it and take it out of the boundary. We'll have a throw in front of this beautiful clubhouse here at Fankhauser Reserve. Southport hosting the grand final. Great to see so many come and view proceedings this afternoon.
And a great day for it. The Wally Fankhauser clubhouse here, one of the great benefactors of Australian football in this state. Gets it down. Clements, handball off to Fife. He's worried out of it by Brown. He dribbles it and gains about 10 metres, and we'll do it all again in front of the NEAFL TV through Bar TV commentary box. 2018 Tribal Sport NEAFL Final Series, the culmination, the 2018 Grand Final. Southport Sharks and Sydney Swans. Southport leading it by 10 points late in the first term.
Ball back into play. No real clear winner of the ruck. Reeves comes through. Fife. He just wraps up the Swans player underneath. And getting up with the ball is Jake Brown.
You'd have to think the Sydney coaching staff would be loving the fact that they've held them down, held the Southport Sharks down for 20-odd minutes.
So El Mucho just keeps the ball in. He escaped the clutches of Jordan Dawson, right to the forward 50. O'Riordan can't handle it. Johnson got it on quickly. Just stood up in the tackle. Now gives it across. Brenton Payne. He was wrapped up in a ripping goal-saving tackle. And that came from Joey Reinhardt. 1 point is the result. It could have been much worse for the Swans.
The boy from Bondi, the musician from Bondi, they call him, and he did a bit of musician work then.
Oh, that was beautiful music, the way he tackled, and there he is, El Mucho, the co-captain of Southport. Andrew Boston wheels around. He puts it to a dangerous area. Big fly at the back, Firewood couldn't take it. It was Hall. Now Clements falls over, tackled, handball to Payne, outstretched. He gives it back to Firewood. Well tackled, and he turns the ball over as a result. James Bell puts himself in for Sydney. Now it's Payne again for Southport. Still fighting to keep the ball in. Reeves, Stewart over the top of him. Now they're going to get it out of here through Vierhouse and handball it to Stoddart. Oh, he's still under pressure, Kanga, so they've got to go backwards.
Yes, he does. They might just come away. It was a good, nice leap there from Bailey Stewart. Out to Vierhouse at half back. He just off the one step, puts it down the line, and no joy there. Wrapping it up is Ryan Davis. Has one a little bit wider. Tyler Roos. He's starting to rack them up. This will be possession number 11.
She's handy in a first quarter of a grand final.
He was my pick for the Andrew Island medal today, I might add.
Did you announce that on E?
No, it's
I see that.
in NEAFL
Bit
media.
late now,
Hard to be
Yeah,
believed.
that's right. Inside forward 50 goes Ryan Davis. Ball at ground level. Wrapping it up there. And dangerous kick. That was by McKellar, but does it well and finds James Rose in the back pocket here on the clubhouse side of the ground.
That's almost the dead man's pocket. Look at the ball hold up in the wind. That is out on the full. He has kicked that 20 metres towards down the wing, and the wind has blown it. Amazing stuff here. Now it's Clark. Puts it short. Cody Firewood, great return from him last week with 3. He's already got 1. Touched off the boot. Dangerous spot. Fife wheels around. Manteet, left foot, curls it. Well read. Good stuff from Joey Reinhardt again. Just the Swans under-19 squad member from the UNSW Bulldogs, Joey Reinhardt. They are a good set of young players they've got in the Swans Academy.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Allies 2018, he's a tough player, very good overhead, and he's had a great first quarter.
Well, Darcy Cameron has kicked that. He sliced that a little, but the breeze took it well and truly there again. Tyler Roos just brought his own footy today in the distinctive red boots. It's long. Darcy Cameron standing there. Hall went high, and then Cameron tried to claim the mark. Hancock at ground level. Goes on the left. It's there! A cute snap. An effective snap by Wade Hancock, and it's the Smalls of Southport. Firewood, Johnson, and now Hancock that have got 3 for Southport. They move to 3-2, 20. The Swans, 3 points. We played 28 and 3/4 minutes of this first quarter.
Yeah, look, just that handball backwards, wasn't it, from the big fella in Cameron? He had the ball and looking for a defender over the back, and well read, and what a beautiful finish on the left foot, if you don't mind, and that never looked like missing, did it? It was a beautiful snap, and one that Southport badly needed. I think it's been a good 20 minutes or so for the Sydney Swans, and that was one that will steady the nerves there for Southport.
So Southport's previous goal, 4 minutes 40 into the game, 28 minutes, Bob. So it's been 23-odd minutes in between goals for Southport, but that's a steadier after Sydney really sort of basically stamped their bit of authority on the first quarter. Umpire will redo that bounce. In fact, he'll throw it straight up, and there is the siren. Full quarter time. Fankhauser Reserve, the 2018 NEAFL Grand Final. At quarter time, the Southport Sharks leading by 17 points. 3-2-20 place, 3 behinds to the Sydney Swans. Goal scorers Firewood, Johnson, and the one just kicked by Hancock, which was a pearler. And Sydney Swans yet to trouble the goal scorers. But Kanga, Tyler Roos racked up the possessions there, 12-odd in the first quarter. Who else has got the numbers on the champion data stats?
Well, overall, the possessions going Southport's way, 99-89, so nothing landslide-ish either way there. Inside 50 to the ones from a team perspective, 12-7 Southport's way, and again that little bit of breeze is helping that, one would think. Clearances going 10-7 Sydney's way, and hit-outs are 11 apiece. So Jed Turner doing well against Darcy Cameron on that front. In terms of individuals, Ryan Davis has 10 possessions. Andrew Boston has 6 in that first quarter, along with Fife and also Mitch Johnson. While for the Swans, it's 7 apiece to O'Riordan and Riley Stoddart. And then Darcy Cameron, he has 6 along with Reinhardt, Vierhouse as well, and Bell and McKellar have 5.
And Bob, some of these younger players, not only from the Sydney Swans and their much vaunted academy prospects, but some of the younger blokes for Southport as well, doing it very well.
Yeah, look, you mentioned the young back from the knee reconstruction, Cody Firewood. What a fantastic start for him, kicking a goal in the first 2 minutes. He's been back for about a month now at Southport, and he's been a great acquisition for their forward line, and he's going to be a real danger in this second quarter. But yeah, I like the work of Dylan Fife in and under the footy. Another young fella from Lauderdale in Tasmania. They've got a lot of young boys, about 21, 22, 23. They've got mature bodies. They're really putting their bodies on the line. But look, their back line stuck together very well. But I was impressed with the Sydney Swans youngsters. Joey Reinhardt, we mentioned. Look, they had another couple of... Hamish Allen's really working hard across half forward. Bailey Stewart, Sam Wicks. They've really got some boys that are really putting their hand up. And Maybaum, what about his hit there on Baxter? That was one of the biggest clashes in that first quarter. And the other highlight, of course, is that beautiful snap right near the siren there to give the Southport Sharks a 3-goal lead.
That's a couple of crackers from Wade Hancock there. Lay on the big smash and then kick the goal. Beautiful stuff. Hey, you can see on the Tribal Sport replay screen right here, you can see Southport. They've split up into their lines and they're talking to their line coaches and amongst each other. But have a look at the support they've got here at Fankhauser Reserve. They're a very, very proud football club. Just talking to Doc McKenzie, one of the fixtures of the Southport Football Club here in the Cabana Lounge, and we're talking about the fact that they entered the Gold Coast Footy League. Bang! They won it in their first year. They won about 10 there. Bang! First year in the QAFL. They won about 13 there. And here they are in one of the foundation clubs of the NEAFL, shooting for their first NEAFL premiership, and they've started beautifully.
Yeah, look, they're used to success, aren't they? And they really, it's been a little bit of a break between premierships.
Yeah, it's been 10 years, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been 10 years, and look, they'll be hungry for it. There's no doubt about that. And look, they've started okay, but yeah, I still wouldn't write Sydney off. That first quarter was a real arm wrestle, really, in, as Kanga said, with regard to stats. They're pretty even, and around the footy, they're really matching it with the bigger bodied Southport Sharks.
And here's a bit of a stat for you while we're going on stats. 1998, Southport won a premiership. 2008, Southport won a premiership. Here we are in 2018. Southport right in the grand final. Will history repeat itself?
As in every 10 years, Southport just roll out another flag to hang up here at Fankhauser.
Amongst other ones.
Amongst other ones as well. But we talk about Southport's run of success. How about the effect of the Sydney Swans on the NEAFL? This was their 5th grand final in the space of 6 years. It's much... documented that they've lost 4 of those by less than 8 points or less. Okay, so they've never been blown away in a grand final, but they have to be considered as probably one of the most powerful clubs in NEAFL history, even though they haven't won the premiership.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, they just bring a brand of football that just works at this level, and it's worked at AFL level as well. And we've talked about their academy members and their ability to, I suppose, initiate them into the Bloods culture, not to the same extent as probably the AFL, but certainly indoctrinate them in the way that very proud football club plays footy, and it's just something that translates absolutely wonderful to this level of competition in our great game.
Yeah, look, Ty Keneally's influential in that, and yeah, great effort from Sydney Swans. As we, Michael, we're heading down.
Yeah, Ethan Mackey is out on the field as we see both huddles break up. Ethan, what do you got for us?
Boys, pretty clear and succinct message there from Ty Keneally to the Sydney boys. Overall, he was pretty impressed with how they started that quarter. To only give away the 3 goals to a howling breeze like this, and it doesn't do it justice on the broadcast how breezy it is down here. They were forced out in the full a number of times by Southport there. That's what they're going to try and do to Southport coming out of defence. Compress them to this side of the field and cut them up with their attack. With their ball use by foot, they're not going to be able to just bomb it long and blaze in with Davis and Tape and those guys there. They're going to have to pierce through the gaps. But overall, Keneally, not panic stations yet for the Swans. They're pretty impressed and feel like they're right in the contest.
Well done. Good on you, Ethan Mackey down there on the field here at Fankhauser Reserve. Good stuff, where it is NEAFL TV through our broadcast partner Bar TV. Michael Price and Mark Kennedy calling all of your action with the Encyclopedia of Queensland Footy, Mr. Bob Batty. 17 points the margin it is at quarter time. 3-2-20 playing three behinds. And it was a good start from the Southport Sharks, but they're running against the wind. Swannies with the wind to the left of screen.
Well, this is where we're going to see probably how strong this breeze is and more pertinently, how well they're going to be able to use that breeze, the Swans, Bob Batty.
Yeah, look, they lowered their eyes well into the breeze and they hit their targets. So they just can't bomb away and let the wind do the trick. They've really got to lower their eyes going forward as well.
We're about to get underway here. Second quarter, 2018 NEAFL Grand Final. The bounce was a bit of an anticlimactic one, so we'll bring the ball back and we'll throw it up instead. Players reset.
Shows you how difficult it is to do. A very experienced umpire from the AFL, Mr. Brett Ritchie.
Now we're underway properly this time. Menteith just tried to put left hand down to the footy. Couldn't do so. Ball just came back under plenty. One of them being Jake Brown. He's wrapped up. Didn't go far away from the circle. Players, or Ruckman in particularly, engaged. Turner was there. Clayton didn't have a great input in the first quarter. Rose, he was wrapped up by Dale. Brown there again at ground level. The ball will be balled up yet again. Still inside the centre square.
Haven't moved much. Just forward of the centre circles. Lovely day here on the Gold Coast for the 2018 NEAFL Grand Final. Picked up there by Styles. He hacks it forward, goes towards the outer side. Now O'Shea's going to be chasing with Joey Reinhardt. O'Shea gets there first. Again, he just overrun the ball there. He gets a bit of help from Lee Dale, who picks it up, hooks it around onto the left foot. Now it's at half forward for the Sharkies. Hall worried out of it a little bit by Maybow. Beautiful handball over to Angus Styles. James Rose, they'll go through the guts. Rose just stops. He didn't think he had a target to go to, and now he kicks long and indiscriminately, and it's read beautifully by Ryan Davis. I don't know why James Rose stopped in the first place there, Kanga.
Obviously didn't see enough that he liked up forward. Kick there by Davis finds Doran. Mind the way he went about his first quarter either. Did some hard things. Gets the ball inboard. Co-captain Andrew Boston. He'll get the wrestling trunks on at some stage today. Nothing surer. El Mucho, as we like to call him. Gets it to Doran. He doesn't quite take the mark. Coming in. Well done by McKellar. Might have hurt his shoulder there. Ball emerges. Well on there by Taylor. Gets it to Turner. Turner. 1-on-1 contest inside forward 50. The Swans will eventually find the numbers. Maybaum gets it back. Vierhouse. He was almost tunnelled.
Free kick, yeah.
And just had his legs taken from under him there. So he'll win the free kick in the back half of the ground inside their defensive 50 at least.
Very dangerous.
Yeah, you picked that one up there. McKellar did hurt his shoulder in that tackle where he really went hard and straight at the footy, and he's come straight off the ground.
Just see on the Tribal Sport replay, that was a very dangerous play. Free kick definitely. Comes now to Jordan Dawson, right half back for the Swans. They've got a spare man out there, and it is Stern. He's got the ball. Chased by Johnson. Bailey Stewart. Now Darcy Cameron's just floating down inside 50 by himself. Jed Turner's going to have to pick him up. A long kick inside 50. Bounces to Allen. Allen can't control it. Stoddard back to Allen. There's a fair bit of hair between them too, and Stoddard tackles his man into the ground. Umpire comes in and said, we'll ball it up. Right forward pocket. And just watch then, you pointed it out too, Bob Batty, as they were making their way down the field. Darcy Cameron just floated in by himself.
Yeah, they just got to look out for that target and kick it quickly into the forward line.
Dale. To a little one out of the phone box to Reeves. Reeves got it to Clayton, who had his kick smothered by Jordan Dawson, just straight out of bounds. So the ball kept in the forward half of the ground at least, just outside the forward 50. Sydney Swans attacking on that outer side.
Just see the crowd that's built up here at Fankhauser Reserve. I love the way that it's like good old state league footy. You've got the cars around there and everybody sitting on the embankment. It's beautiful.
Stern couldn't take it. Vierhouse just gets it inside forward 50. Rose came with the flight of the footy. Menteith couldn't take it with him. Rose emerges with it. Gets it to Jordan Dawson and kicks Sydney's first. It's what they needed just to steady the ship somewhat. They are kicking with the breeze, but importantly, they get away after 4 minutes of this second quarter, just to narrow the margin to 11 points. Lovely bit of work there by Rose to get it to Dawson.
Yeah, it was a good bit of work, wasn't it? But what a clinical finish from Jordan Dawson, as we'll see on the Tribal Sport replay, Bob.
Yeah, good work there from both Rose and Bell, their experience there, and they got it out, and what a beautiful finish there from Jordan Dawson. Always liked this player, watched him a couple of years now since he's got on the list, and he's a player awaiting to really emerge at AFL level, is Jordan Dawson.
They seem to have a few of those, Bob. They regularly produce them, the Sydney Swans. It's like a production conveyor belt there as Darcy Cameron gets it down to Brown. Now Dawson himself hooks it towards left half forward. James Bell having a good battle there with Reeves. Well read there by Davis. Gets it to Reeves, and they're over the boundary line again. Well done by Reeves, who knocked his opponent in Cooper Kilpatrick over the top. Jack O'Shea getting involved as well. Get another throw in. It's left half forward for the Sydney Swans, trailing by 11 points. NEAFL TV through Bar TV.
Josh Hall having a stint in the ruck against Cameron. He'll just rely on his big jump, but couldn't get over the top of Cameron. Clayton just hits it on. Back to Hall. Hall just goes off the one step round the corner. Mayborn does well. Just got it down though, but it fell to Payne. Payne to Wilkinson. Now the race is on. Leading it there is Flanagan. Just look to give it across. O'Riordan. 1-on-1 contest here. A little bit dangerous, although it's 2-on-1 because Tape just went off his man. Gives it over the top to Dale. Now he's a spare. Handball off to Clements, the veteran. He'll just line him up. And Wilkinson, he went to Shepherd for the goal, but the ball just held up and it just dropped short. Allowed the Sydney defender just tap it away. Rolls out of bounds. Not a bad result in the end for Southport, though.
Yeah, good work there from Maybarn, wasn't it? Really got a hand in and used his body well. He is a big lump of a kid, isn't he? The boy from the Eastern Ranges and Melbourne Grammar.
Bit of a mismatch there with Wilkinson trying to bump him off the ball. Good luck there. Clements overran it. O'Riordan now to Stern. Stern being chased by Baxter. Stern goes to the outer side. Rogers spoiled away from him. Tape just calls the leader and says, come towards me. Oh, it's beautifully read. Well done, Colin O'Riordan, a man who was from Templemore in Ireland, played for the Tipperary Seniors, and as we've pointed out, holds the distinction of having 2 NEAFL Teams of the Year and 2 All-Ireland representations. So he's one of the few, in fact the only one in the NEAFL.
So Joey Reinhardt wins the free kick, half back out of sight. No doubt we'll have some viewers from Ireland with us on NEAFL TV, thanks to our broadcast partner Bar TV. And that kick wasn't a good one, only finds Reece Clark for Southport, who retreats and finds Ryan Davis.
That's
and
Fetty.
That is James Bell, who went inside the protected area.
Well, he just went over the mark.
And 50 metres result, so didn't have to be a rocket scientist to work out that was going to be 50-metre penalty.
Well, let's see how we go. Centre square's about 45. I reckon that's about 50. Well done, sir. Well paced out. Umpire Andrew Adair.
Ryan Davis, he'll give it to Brodie Murdoch, will he? No, he's shaped to, but decides to go himself. Kicks it down deep. Hall went before acceptances. Little Clements, he's quick. He ran past Rose, but couldn't quite handle it.
Let's go to Ethan Mackey on the boundary line. Ethan, what do you have for us, champion?
Just a heads up, boys, after that earlier knock to Josh Baxter, he's back after that corky in the quad, moving around freely now, looking fine. So no injury concerns for either side at this stage.
That's very handy. Thanks, Ethan Mackey on the boundary line. Clements goes for it on the boundary line. Once again, Sydney have got it covered, but it's a good tackle by Fife. Umpire says we'll ball it up. So we'll get a throw in fact. Right against the boundary line, right forward pocket. They're pressing. It is Southport in the right forward pocket. The wind is howling to your left of screen, as you'll hear in the microphones. Darcy Cameron gets it down. Rose through traffic. This is what James Rose can do. He gets it now off to McGrath, who recovered, kicked it long towards Bell, but that was beautifully done. That's great use of the body from Brodie Murdoch, who played on, lowered the eyes, and hits a target. It's Josh Clayton, Scott Clayton standing over there in the Cabana bar. It goes back there to Murdoch. Murdoch inside 50. Oh, big fly from Wilkinson. He almost ran out of oxygen up there as O'Riordan slaps it out, and Southport re-entering through Firewood. He lowers the eyes. He's got a target. Fife! Well, they went in and out and in and out and in and out.
I think Wilkinson does need an oxygen mask. He got that high. He really jumped high on Cameron's head and didn't do a bad job, but good work there twice there by Saunders. He's was under a bit of a cloud last week, Kanga, wasn't he? But he's fought through that little injury and he's looked good in that back half. This is a tough kick into the teeth of the breeze from the little fella.
From Lauderdale in Tasmania, Dylan Fife. He starts at left and it curls back. Has it got the distance? The umpire says yes, indeed. Southport get their fourth goal. 4-3-27 to the Swannies 139, and we have played 9.5 minutes of the second term on NEAFL TV through Bar TV.
Well, what a wonderful kick. Said it's going to be tough into the teeth of the breeze as we look on the Tribal Sport replay. And it comes in, a beautiful kick there. Gave him every chance. He was about 35 out, but kicking into a howling breeze like that'd blow a dog off a chain, that breeze, the way it's going. And that was a beautiful kick there from Fife, and it was centimetre perfect, as Cometti used to say. Just got over the line.
Well, it re-extends Southport's lead to 17 points. Goals to the right of your screen are going to be vital this afternoon. And there's one for the Sharks, the home side. Bounce again. Cameron, umpire goes down. Veerhouse, and gets it off to McGrath, out to the outer wing. Foot race on. Lee Dale leads the charge for Southport. Gets a bit of a block, now has to retreat. Doran, just off the one step, up towards Baxter as well. Manteet just taps it in the path of Ruse. He's less prevalent in his second quarter so far. Jordan Dawson gets it to O'Riordan, now to Cameron. The Swans can settle just behind the centre circle.
He's got a runner coming out onto the logo. Chips it towards his man in Angus Styles. Styles gathers. Uses the left foot. James Rose is open. Oh, just arrogantly uses the one hand in front of the cabana bar. That'll draw a lot of love. He kicks it to 30 metres out, and Southport have got it covered. Davis drops what he might have taken. Stern, handball back into Bailey Stewart. Hooks it around very cleverly. Well done, Bailey Stewart. Great play, and he hits his teammate in Jeremy Schumack.
Well, what about the nonchalant pluck of the football there by James Rose?
Oh, I was about to say the Southport faithful would love that bit of nonchalance.
Heard a bit of the ooze come through, just the marvelling at the skill.
He is a great player, James Rose, as the young fella comes in. Oh, look at the violent hook of the ball on Jeremy Schumack there. He started that basically from the right goal post, and it's gone through to the left for a behind. Absolutely unbelievable. 1-4-10 place, 4-2-27.
Yeah, opportunity missed there from young Schumack, but yeah, great vision there from both Stern and Stewart to get it to him.
Well, it's a lovely mark there from Jack O'Shea.
Crowd getting into it here, Kanga, now.
Yeah, they are. Try and bring the home side home. Bring the cup home, as they would suggest. Manteet with the ball. Goes down the line, just sitting up in the breeze. Turner just impacts the contest. O'Riordan's there. And he's taken the ground by Clements.
I know we mentioned it before, but it's a great story, isn't it? For a bloke who was 4 years ago not even playing the Indigenous game of footy. He's captaining his AFL club's NEAFL side. Absolutely brilliant effort.
Yeah, fantastic performance.
The ball at ground level. Baxter tries to burst through. He got burst nearly in half before. Brown squeezes one out. Stern can run onto it. Just under pressure from O'Shea. The ball inside forward 50's cut off there by Taylor.
Taylor did very well. Read it nicely. Gets it back. Clark. Going to handball over the top to Davis. He's chased by Stewart, so puts a bit of pressure on the kick. Doran did well to drag it to ground. So did Wicks to get involved. Doran on top of it. Wicks on top of him. Umpire will signal shortly. No, comes out. Reeves chips it in the Johnson direction. Mitch Johnson juggles. And was it paid? It was. He juggled it a few times in front of his opponent. So Mitch Johnson is in front of the Doug Hannell Memorial scoreboard. 16 points the margin. He chips it across to Tyler Ruse. How many is that now for Tyler Ruse, Kanga?
Yeah, he's at the 14, so only a couple this quarter. And Ruse just goes short, looking for a target. It was a little bit of a dicey one, and Jake Brown was the man that took the mark. Did it nicely. They're called to play on now. Just sizes one up in the middle of the ground, finds Kilpatrick, gives it to the run of the big boy Elm. Inside forward 50. The target was Bailey Stewart, but the Breeze just took it, ran away, and Ryan Davis and Stewart just chaperoned it over the boundary line.
Yeah, inexperience there from the kick, wasn't it, from young Allen? He really need to go to the top side of the ground as we see it, because that Breeze is just going to bring it into the sort of the defensive side of the ground now.
Absolutely, into the left forward pocket to the left of screen, the Breeze hitting. Turner, Taylor. Now Ruse did well to get out of traffic, but then hooks it back, and it's intercepted by Flanagan. Flanagan lowers the eyes. He hits Bailey Stewart. Did well to get around, holding the agate now, Sunshine. You can't get through 5 of them. Ethan Reeves will take the free kick. Really good tackle, but Bailey Stewart taking the game on, at least for the Swannies. Well done by Baxter. Got the ball away down the outer wing. Mitch Johnson will take it, and Southport are out of trouble.
Where they just have that target, Baxter. They'll be very pleased to get him back into harness, because he's just that nice link chain. Johnson almost dragged down his leg, so he'll go back. He'll be a little bit lucky from that point of view. As
there was a nice
little bit of feeling in it again.
Well, Clements copped a little high one there from Jordan Dawson, methinks, and just reminded him of
Murdoch finds Baxter on the bounce, albeit. Doran gives it back to Baxter. Now the long kick, sets it up. Wilkinson's there. Well done there by the Swans defence, but coming through, picking it up, getting toe to ball was Michael Manteet. And that's a goal.
It was unfortunate from the young man. We'll have a look at it on the...
McKellar, the man that unfortunately for the Swans couldn't kill it.
Well, he let loose the handball, but only into the path of the young man in Manteet.
It was just in between, wasn't he? He was we'll watch it on the Tribal Sport replay. He was just close. Could have been looked at as being a deliberate point if he had gone any further. But as it was a deliberate goal there for a Manteet, and a great toe poke there to really give Southport fans plenty to cheer about. And they head out now to a 22-point lead, and they've really answered the challenge.
You just think I think McKellar just panicked a little bit there. He's only a metre or so away from the goal line, so he could have very easily taken it through without being pinged. Umpire will recall that one, umpire Brett Ritchie. But it does take him out to a 22-point lead after around about 16 and a half minutes of the second term on NEAFL TV through Bar TV.
It's just that in-between, isn't it? You just don't know whether or not you've got enough space to take it through or not and be penalised. So it's just that in-between sort of decision.
So Ritchie, umpire Ritchie, throws it up. Jed Turner slaps it down. Picked up by Jake Brown. He's tackled, loses the ball. Clayton tries to tow it forward. Swans in the way. James Bell getting in there. Umpire Ritchie again hugs himself. Jake Brown comes out with it. We'll do it all again. 22 points the margin.
Just quickly inside 50s, 20-13 Southport's way. Clearances 16-10 Sydney's way.
Well, they just won another one, make that 17-10. Rose to O'Riordan. O'Riordan to the outer side. Bailey Stewart. Dodgy handball. Well picked up by Tyler Ruse to Clark. Clark on the left foot. Finds his man in Dylan Fife. Wheels around onto the left, does Fife. He's got a man there in Hancock. Hancock runs to the 50. Kicks it to the square. Wilkinson! Geez, that's a good mark overhead for a little man. Takes the mark, does Tom Wilkinson. And he can go and kick Southport's 6th goal.
Yeah, very good overhead mark, wasn't it? That was really travelling, that ball. It was kicked with the breeze behind it. Hard to judge, but he judged it perfectly and never looked like dropping it, did it? He really looked very secure with those mitts, and he'll go back and he should slot this. He's a lovely kick.
Boy from Williamstown, Tom Wilkinson, directly in front, and bangs it through for the Sharkies. Their 6th goal and their 6th individual goal kicker for Southport. 6-2-38, plays 1-4-10. It's now out to 28 points the margin. See on the Tribal Sport replay, Kanga. Good set of mitts.
Well, this is why he's been so dangerous all year, Tom Wilkinson. He's 23 years of age, and you know, he's just got that agility. We saw that very big leap over the top of Darcy Cameron before, but he's got leg speed. He provides pressure around the contest up forward, and on that occasion, good clunk, good goal.
Yeah, part of that Fab Four that we've mentioned before, the Beatles. You got Clayton, you've got all the Sandringham Dragons boys there, Manteet, and of course Wilkinson and Ruse.
So Turner, I'll give that hit out to him, but the ball doesn't go far, wrapped up. Doran did the wrapping up, and that was of Sam Wicks. We go again, Cameron, we'll give that one to him. Stands up, just feeds a little dinky one out. Ball spills free. Who's going to come away with it? Doran has to lay another tackle, and the ball goes nowhere. We've just gone about 10 metres to the outer side from the centre circle.
It's the 2018 Tribal Sport NEAFL final series, the culmination of which is the 2018 grand final. Southport versus Sydney. Southport leading by 28 points, and we played 20-odd minutes of the second quarter on NEAFL TV through Bar TV as Andrew Boston gets up with the ball in the middle of the ground. Slapped down by Darcy Cameron. Umpire's got a free kick. Umpire Adair has called it to James Rose, who quickly decides he wants to play on. Puts the skates on, has a couple of bounces, takes them on, does James Rose, and tries to break through. Well tackled. Handball off now to Schumack. Inside Fetty. Allen could have taken the mark but didn't get there. Kilpatrick did. Ball spills. Jake Brown over the top of it. So's Jack O'Shea. Umpire will ball it up about 40 metres out, and we go down to the boundary line. Ethan Mackey is down there for us.
This breeze has picked up significantly down here at ground level in the second term, guys. Going to the left of screen, favouring the Swans. They haven't been able to cope, though. The message at quarter time, as mentioned, was from Ty Kennelly saying, bring the Sharks to this side of the field and make them kick out in the full. Every time the Sharks have gone forward, they've used that far wing, which is something that they're really going to need to cut down on defensively to get back into this contest.
Oh, right. As we come back from Ethan, man in front paid the mark. Ball came in, dangerous kick, but it was Lee Dale that was up to the task. Gives it to Boston. That Boston kick doesn't hit the target, so keeps the ball in a dangerous area for the Sydney Swans.
Yeah, look, important 10 minutes now for Sydney Swans, isn't it? They've only kicked the one with this very, very big breeze that they've got at their backs, and Southport are really lifted this quarter. They're really winning that hard contest.
Boston goes in tough again. Rose, he's wrapped up by Dale, who steals it, and then Rose has to lay a tackle on him. And a hard tackle it was, and slammed him to the ground.
Good stuff.
But he's a tough customer. Is Lee Dale, the man from Yakandanda.
How do you spell Yakandanda?
With a
Who
Y.
cares?
With a Y. It's Cameron down to Manteet. He's on top of the ball. There goes Lee Dale. He goes in. Once again tackled by Jake Brown, and the umpire will hug himself, and so we'll ball it up again. Left half forward for the Sydney Swans, and they are trailing by 28 points. Desperately need a goal, the Swannies. Boston puts himself over the ball. Great tackle, Jordan Dawson. Could have been pinged El Mucho, but nothing happening, and the umpire will come in and do it all again.
Well, he went for the wrestling move to Jordan Dawson. He a bit of the reverse El Mucho.
The reverse El Mucho, which is the half suplex.
Just trying to emerge is Rose. Gets a quick one off to Brown. Inside forward 50, nobody there. Ball hits at ground level. The Swans just try to keep the ball in. Stern has his handball smothered by tape, and it ricochets over the line.
That Southport defence really holding up strong, aren't they? A lot of experience there with Davis, Taylor, Tape. A lot of AFL experience there as well, and they're really doing a good job back there.
So dangerous spot for the Swans. Let's see what they can do. Elm, it's beaten to it by Turner. Dale just gets it out of the pack. Rose, he's back on it again. Gives it to Darcy Cameron. Just off the one step, unbalanced. Sits it up, looking for a big target. Ball at ground level. Kilpatrick, Wicks, O'Riordan. Just tries to measure one. Stoddart is the man over his head. Firewood was there. And tape it is. He's happy to let the ball go over the line.
See Riley Stoddart on the Tribal Sport replay just having a look at the umpire and saying, hey, I reckon I was being held out there.
Yeah, just been quiet this quarter, Stoddart. They've really put the clamps on him. Cody Firewood going back onto him. Also, Bell being pretty quiet.
Absolutely, as that slapped down by Turner. Boston just growing as the game gets older. Hooks it towards the outer side. That was a great contested effort there. Could have been a mark to the Swannies player there, methinks. No, umpire says it went over the boundary line. I thought it was McKellar's mark, but he throws it back towards the boundary umpire, who'll give it a throw in on the outer side. Beautiful day here on the Gold Coast. Fankhauser Reserve, about 24, 25 degrees, but the breeze blowing significantly to the left of screen.
Cameron takes it out of the ruck. Right, deep inside the forward 50. Stoddart tried to run onto it, couldn't take it with him. Forwards there as well. Emerging is Jack O'Shea. Just tries to clear the area. And Hall takes a nice mark in front of Rayner.
There's nobody in front of him, Kanga. There's only 2 players that were forward of him before he kicked that.
Well, they just compacted down just to try and help their defence out. Reeves, a little one down the line, finds Tyler Roos.
Touch number 17.
A bit of leather poisoning developing.
He would have had a fair mentor growing up, Tyler Roos, you think?
Of course. Fitzroy and Swans champion Paul Roos.
Might have had a few defensive tips.
Yes, that's right. We might be speaking to him at half-time. Bit of a scoop as Baxter lays on a tackle. That was on Bell. Maybaum gets the kick away. And standing underneath it courageously was Cody Firewood.
Handballs gets it off to Clark. Clark lowers the ice, hits Taylor in the middle. Now they've got numbers, the Sharks, if they use the ball well. On the lead, Wilkinson just dropped it out in front of him. He lost his opponent completely. He had 5 yards on him. Wilkinson takes the mark. It's going to be almost impossible to have a ping from there. He's got Payne leading for him. Breaking away to the right forward pocket. Still Payne, but he saw him. There you go. I only predicted it 10 minutes ago. There he is, Brendan Payne. He was like stealthing over like a bomber. He's trying not to be seen as he went to the right forward pocket.
You should be coaching Pricey with that call. You've called it for about 2.5 minutes, and he's still able to hit him.
Yeah.
So that's the latitude he was given. Been pretty quiet, Brenton Payne, the boy from St Kilda rookie and North Ballarat, and it's a big opportunity for him. This will bring the house down if it goes through.
Uses the right foot from 45 across the face of goal. Oh, it's knocked down there by Hall. Fife couldn't take it. Sydney through, Stoddart taps it over the boundary line. We'll get a throw in right forward pocket. See the effect of that breeze just pushing the ball straight across the face of goal as well, Kanga.
Yes, we're just you can hear it in the effects mics. So our mics as it pushes right there to us. Hall took front spot, uses his athleticism well. Fife provides the tackle on Brown. The ball's going nowhere. Ball up again. Approaching 27 minutes gone of this second quarter. Hall again, down at ground level. Tackled was Fife. Well, in fact, it was Hancock. And players will dissipate a little as the umpire will ball it up yet again.
28 points the margin. Late in the second quarter on NEAFL TV through Bar TV. Cameron taps it down in the direction of Boston. He shuffles it over the boundary line. We'll do it all again, get a throw in.
Well, it's keeping in their forward half, aren't they?
That's exactly what they're doing at the minute. They're just holding the ball up.
Trying to kill a bit of time, aren't they? Because it's so important with only about 2 or 3 minutes till half time. To hold a 28-point lead is going to be crucial for Southport.
So Josh Hall slaps it down away from Darcy Cameron. It's hacked out by Jordan Dawson. O'Shea puts himself in. Well spoiled by Bell, but O'Shea with a second effort gets the handball away. Taylor handballs it away, and James Bell gets involved. So does Rose. Now the ball spills onto the logo. Well done, Southport. Once again, they've just got the numbers around the ball. Brady Murdoch, handball back to Reeves. He's intent to go back to Davis, and they'll open up the fat side of the ground. Reeves will continue running. Davis, well, what has he got? About 35 AFL games experience from the West Coast and Gold Coast, and then he kicks it too close to the boundary line. It's out of bounds on the full. It'll be a free kick to the Sydney Swans right in front of us on the interchange gates. It'll go to Darcy Cameron.
And in fact, it'll go off to Angus Styles.
Darcy Cameron was just trying to claim it.
Well, nothing wrong with trying to get a couple of extra touches. Styles goes down the line. Clark couldn't take it. Roos is there. Handball was not the desired one. Stern, a little muffled his conveyance. Handball. Now Josh Hall gets it to Clayton. Roos tries to run onto it. And then Rose just interjects. The kick right to forward 50. But Jake Doran, he's just been there at the right times this afternoon so far, and he'll get it back. And he finds Reese Well, Ryan Davis it is on the last line of defence. They're happy just to hold proceedings up.
Yeah, very late in the second term here on NEAFL TV through Bar TV. 2018 NEAFL Grand Final. Davis plays on. Now he measures it towards Hall. That's a beautiful kick. Well taken by Josh Hall, who burns off Jordan Dawson and then kicks it indiscriminately in the middle of the ground. Wilkinson made it look a lot better than what it was, and then he buggered it up as well. It's stuck underneath a couple and will get it balled up. Centre of the ground. No, umpire circling. Yes, he will ball it up. A little bit in it now, and you can see a little bit of fatigue starting to hit late in red time in the second quarter, Bob, for both sides.
Yeah, certainly so. An important couple of minutes. But what about the leg speed there, Wilkinson? He's not only good overhead, he's very, very quick.
Play goes out to the outer wing. Doran, he's wrapped up. And well done by the Swans player, who I thought for a moment was going to get in his back, but didn't do so. Underway again. Boston, he's wrapped up there. Looks like it might be Stoddart getting up from him. In fact, it isn't.
Ty McGrath made his
Ty
debut
McGrath.
last week. How would you be making your debut in a NEAFL final last week as it's out to Styles? Hooks it around the body, down the outer side. Great stuff from Doran and Stern, who both attack the ball hard. Ball spills Swans direction. Stern again. Well done by Taylor. He's got the ball knocked out of his hands. Fife. Now goes back to Firewood. Firewood down the outer side. Over the head of Wilkinson. He's got the toe. And Swans' opponent was really worried about that. Wilkinson couldn't get away with the ball, though. It's still under dispute, and now it's hacked down the outer side. Southport have got the numbers here. They're all just standing around having a look. And Stern just bobbed up in between three of them and said, I'll take it. He puts it laterally and gives it to Darcy Cameron. And there you go. That's the siren. Well, I think there was a bit of miscommunication there, but no miscommunication here from Southport as Darcy Cameron does his best torpedo. Not a bad effort. But that will be the halftime score. 6-2, 38 to 1-4-10. So in a half of football, only one goal scored to the right of screen. The other seven have gone. Other six have gone through to the left of screen. 28 points the margin, and the goal scorers. Well, you've got individual goal scorers for Southport: Wilkinson, Manteet, Fife, Hancock, Johnson, and Firewood. Jordan Dawson with the only goal for the Sydney Swans.
Yeah, great half there from the Southport Sharks. That second quarter, they've actually kicked 3 goals into the non-scoring end to Sydney's 1. So a fantastic effort from the Sharks, and I'm sure the coaching staff, Stephen Daniel, Aaron Cornelius and Matty Lappin, will be cock-a-hoop with regard to their efforts around the footy, their contested footy. They're well up on that. I can get a check on the stats, but they certainly seemed to lift, I thought, in that second quarter. And a great half of footy for the Southport Sharks, and Sydney have got plenty of work to do.
Well, possessions overall going Southport's way, 185 to 172. Marks also, so Southport controlling the footy, 57 to 37. Hit-outs, 26 to 24. So Jed Turner doing a very, very good job there against Darcy Cameron. But the clearances, the Swans hold sway there, 21 to 14. Inside 50s, 22 to 18. The Swans had a bit of a rush there. So leading possession getters, Tyler Roos has had 18 for Southport. Ryan Davis in the back half of the ground, 17. And a number of players with 10, including Firewood, Reeves, Clayton, and also Lee Dahl. While for the Sydney Swans, James Rose, he really came into the game in the second quarter. Good burst of energy, 16 disposals. O'Riordan's had 14, 11 apiece to Stern, Cameron, and Veerhouse.
They really have thrown everything at it, the young Sydney Swans brigade. And I've really admired the way they've gone about it. They held them up for around about 20 minutes of that first quarter, and they did it a little bit hard going into the wind, with the wind in that second term, but Southport doing beautifully. It is the 2018 NEAFL Grand Final, the tribal sport NEAFL Final Series, culminating in a great day here at Fankhauser Reserve with the Sharkies up against the Sydney Swans. Now, a man who's he'd be well known to every AFL football follower, NEAFL football follower as well. He's got a man, he's dipped in both camps to a certain degree. His son running around who's got leather poisoning at the moment for the Southport Sharks with 18 touches, and also a famous Sydney Swans heritage, Mr. Paul Roos. Thanks for joining us, Roosie.
Oh, good on you. Thanks a lot. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a good day and a good game. Young Sydney Swans team. They've got they got 8 listed players. So
8 listed today.
Yeah, and against the Southport team that's been a really consistent side all year. So it's a good game.
Obviously impressed with the way Tyler's going about the business. You would have given him a few defensive tips over the years.
No, he's found his niche at half-back. He's played a bit on the wing in the middle of the year, but he's had a really good season at half-back. And, yeah, it's tough conditions out there. He's found a bit of the footy. I guess both teams are struggling to move the ball cleanly because of the wind. But, yeah, he's had a good first half.
Now, you've had a good opportunity to see a fair bit of NEAFL football. I saw you at the season opener in Canberra. I've seen you at the Southport here, and I'm sure you've seen a few games down in Sydney and around where Tyler's played. How have you seen the NEAFL this year? Obviously, you see a lot of AFL football and the development, I suppose, given that you've had some input with the Swans Academy, amongst other things.
Yeah, I think it's going to draw some better players, as it has over the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, with the AFL players playing, I mean, the conditions are great. That's what I noticed. I mean, VFL football can get really cramped and because of the ground sometimes. Williamstown, Sandringham, even out at Cranbourne at Casey, quite windy conditions, very stoppage-based game. So the NEAFL's a lot more wide open. So I think it's going to drag a lot of players, particularly with the VFL Development League disbanding this year. I think that'll drag a lot of really good young players, 20, 21, 22. So I've been really impressed with the standard. The non-AFL clubs have been really competitive this year. Obviously, Aspley last week, saw Sydney Uni play a couple of times, and even the bottom teams. I mean, Redlands were competitive in a lot of the games, and so were NT. So the quality in the non-AFL NEAFL teams has been really high.
And of course, you've got the overseas connection with the wife Tammy, and some of the family stream live the NEAFL TV commentary as well. So we're very proud to be international in that regard.
Right now, so to all the Hardy crew that are over there listening, they're watching the game. They get very excited, particularly when Tyler gets the footy and you call out his name. So no, all the crew are listening back in California, near San Francisco, 50 miles south and thereabouts. So grandparents and aunties and uncles and cousins and everything. So no, it's great. It's fantastic for them.
So Tyler obviously making the decision to come to Southport. I mean, it still feel like the AFL dream's alive for him, and we've seen a lot of players come through not only the academy system, Brisbane, the Suns and the Swans, and obviously the Giants and so forth. But we've also seen some players come from other teams, like Vandenberg, for example, and you'd know that well from your Melbourne days. Is there anything you've seen this year that I suppose gives hope to a few more players, not only from within that academy system, but outside, that are playing in those non-AFL
absolutely.
sides?
I know Tyler, Josh Clayton's here. Scotty Clayton's been recruiting for AFL clubs for the best part of 20 years, and I know Tyler spoke to Scott about how he sees the NEAFL, and I spoke to Steve Silvani. And so the 4 boys that played at Sandy Dragons, I think they all hope to still get drafted. So the feedback from recruiters is really positive about coming up to the NEAFL and playing these games. I think we're seeing, as you mentioned, Vandenberg came from the Wagner boys. Josh obviously had a bit to do with as well. So I think this will become more and more as teams, I think, evolve, and I'm hoping, and I think I've said this publicly, certainly on the couch, that the AFL give the bottom teams extra 21 to 24-year-olds.
They're calling it the Ruse rule now that they want enacted, which is the
mature
age
I've seen a lot of VFL guys. I've seen a lot of, I was fortunate to watch both my sons grow up in New South Wales, so I've seen a lot of the Rams kids, but I've also, as you mentioned, worked with the academy for 3 years while I wasn't coaching. So I've seen a lot of high quality. Then I went down to Melbourne and watched the Sandy Dragons play for the 2 years that Tyler was there. There's a lot of footballers out there not playing AFL football that are more than capable of playing AFL football. So I hope the AFL does change the rules for the bottom teams and gives them some mature age kids.
And what about the future of the academies? I mean, we've heard some AFL clubs sort of voice some concerns around the academies, that they don't get enough of a dip at them. But certainly those northern states, New South Wales and Queensland, they have proven to be some really good breeding grounds. And you've played your part. Where do you see the academy program really going within the system?
Yeah, look, I was part of establishing the Swans Academy with Chris Smith, and I know Smithy's here today. He's a great mate of mine. He's done an outstanding job as the Swans. So I can only sort of talk intimately about the Swans Academy because I was involved. QBE got behind it. They enlisted 600 or 700 kids coming through their academy. They got hubs at Wollongong and Newcastle and North Shore and around the eastern suburbs. So they've done a really, really good job. They've dragged kids in, and I mean, everyone talks about Isaac Heaney and Cal Mills. They're super, super talented kids. Now, they would have been draftable, I would think it anyway, but it's probably pushed them, both those boys, from maybe a mid-20 pick, mid-30 pick to probably, I know they were bidded on by the Swans, but probably 1, 2, 3 pick. That's how much improvement they've made through the academy system. So the Swans have done a fantastic job, and I think you'll see the Lions, Suns and Giants put more and more money into it because it's a great investment in the kids. Not only that, you can see how it filters back into the local comps as well, because if you're talking about the northern states, you want coaches, you want young kids going back and helping under 12s, under 13s, you want them to go back and play local footy. So it has enormous benefits, not just the kids that go on and play AFL footy.
So I was going to say, the local footy at the today, I think in Sydney, or was it yesterday, the under-19 Div 1 grand final, there was 20-odd academy Swans Academy kids involved in that game, as well as the plethora of talent we've got in front of us. So, I mean, especially, I've been watching NEAFL for a little while, and the Sydney Swans just seem to have it down pat. They have the best bottom half list in the league, methinks.
Yeah, look, as I said, Chris Smith does a great job. Jared Crouch is involved in that at the moment. Mickey O'Loughlin was involved. So they get high-quality guys, teaching the kids. They've got a great group of coaches. And as you see today, I mean, I think there's only 8 AFL Swans listed players, and the young boys are playing really, really well. It's just been a bit stiff, perhaps their connection into the forward line and the fact that they don't play together, but it's certainly a closer game than perhaps what the scoreboard suggests. So even the 14 boys out here, you can see their skill levels nice and high. They understand the game, they change angles, they hit targets, so they're not just a blast team down the line all the time. So they're really well educated, as you said.
Well, it's the integration as well, isn't it? Because the listed players could sometimes, I suppose, focus on themselves, but it's a real credit to these AFL lists now to really embrace these academy boys, and one, I suppose, embrace the fact that they can play, but two, really try and include them and trust them in the way they go about it.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, and the Swans done a great job, as I said, but you even look today, I mean, Johnny Longmire's here, Andrew Ireland, Andrew Pridham, I ran into Josh Kennedy, Luke Parker, Tom Papley yesterday. I think Nick Smith's come up. Cal Mills is on the board down there. So the actual club itself has really embraced the academy boys, and for them to come up. Ty Kennelly's their coach, and the privilege of coaching Tig as well. So you can see how much that the academy means. The boys come in, they feel accepted. I mean, you get your captain coming up here, Joey Kennedy, and watching the seconds, and you're watching the young boys. If I'm a young boy pulling on a Swans jumper, Swans Academy boy playing today, I'm really proud of my footy club already, and I'm really invested in my footy club. And I look around, I see John Longmire, the senior coach. So, yeah, look, it's a wonderful football club, and they've done a terrific job with their academy.
Now, speaking of wonderful football clubs, we'll just divert for a moment. Just want to get your opinion on the D's and the way they've progressed through. Great game against Hawthorn the other night. You must be feeling like a proud dad in that regard.
Yeah, look, I'm enjoying it. Really, really am. I'm excited about the year, excited about the week one when they beat Geelong, and I was at the ground. It's hard to sort of be a neutral commentator and try and commentate and without barracking, but thankfully we actually don't have to commentate during the game. We just do the pre-game, half-time and post-game. So, yeah, look, it's amazing. It's a credit to Goody and the staff, and so wrapped for Nathan Jones and Maxie Gawn have been there a long period of time. Nev Jetta, Jack Viney's pedigree with his dad being there as well. Dad's list manager. Toddy's done an amazing job. So, look, Peter Jackson, Glenn Bartlett, the list goes on and on. It's been an amazing effort for so many people to turn that footy club around over the last 5 years, and it's so pleasing that they're in the preliminary final and be an exciting weekend of footy next weekend.
Well, look, Paul Roos, it's been an absolute delight to have you here on NEAFL TV through Bar TV. I know you've been a great supporter of the NEAFL. You even mention it on your Fox Sports shows and all of that, so we're grateful for all of that as well. You're not like Lynchy, who calls it the NIFL, but we're very, very grateful for you this afternoon. How do you think the second half's going to go quickly?
Yeah, I mean, the wind is a factor, isn't it? I mean, there's no question about it. I think, at 5 goals up, it'd be hard to see Southport winning, but, Rose really got into the game. You mentioned Dawson's a good player, their ruckman, Cameron. So they've got the quality there, there's no question. So I wouldn't want to be Southport, take my foot off the pedal, because they've got some high-quality players out there. I think centre clearance is a huge, if you can get it. We know the territory game, and particularly with the way the wind is. I like the way Southport have set up their defence with Davis just sitting in that back 50. They look really safe back there. I think if I was putting my money on it, put it on Southport, hopefully. But anything can happen in a grand final.
Brilliant. Thanks very much for joining us, Paul Roos.
Pleasure.
Greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
NEAFL TV through Bar TV. Michael Price and Mark Kennedy calling all of your action. And very shortly, what we'll be doing is having a little bit of a break so I can actually get a drink of water, and we might have a look at some highlights as well on NEAFL TV through Bar TV.
Southport Sharks is your total entertainment precinct, featuring premium sporting facilities including AFL grade ovals and a 24/7 fitness centre. Stay with us in the all-new 120-room Mantra Hotel, complete with rooftop bar. Planning an event? Sharks Event Centre can cater for up to 1,000 guests. Quench your thirst from one of our 6 bars, plus there's entertainment 7 days a week. If you're feeling peckish, you can dine in either of our 2 restaurants or grab a quick bite from the cafe. Visit southportsharks.com.au.
Welcome back to NEAFL TV here at Fankhauser Reserve. Thanks to our broadcast partners, Bar TV. For the 2018 NEAFL Grand Final half-time, we look up the scoreboard. It's not pretty viewing for the Sydney Swans at the moment, trailing by 28 points. It's going to be interesting to see how they can work back into this second half. Now, we saw in the second term Southport going into the breeze, which is absolutely howling to the north. They were able to transition the footy quite well over on that far side on that wing. Whereas in that first quarter, Sydney, they brought the ball back down this near wing and probably kicked it out in the full half a dozen times or so. So it'll be quite interesting to see what they've learnt from that first quarter and if they can tidy up with that movement coming down the far side and pierce through Southport. Because if it's not done this quarter, you feel like it might be a bit too much of an ask to come back in the final term trailing by as much as they could. Looking forward to a cracking second half of footy though. Southport looking very good at the moment to break through for their first premiership in 10 years. Big half ahead.
Absolutely. Ethan Mackey on the boundary line doing some fine work here at Fankhauser Reserve on NEAFL TV through Bar TV. And we're all supported by the great people from Elastoplast who have been magnificent all across the 2018 season. And previously as well, Mark Kennedy getting ready for the second half. That great chat with the legendary Paul Roos at half-time, Kanga, and he was very humble about the fact his son's probably leading the charge at the moment for the Andrew Island medal with the most possessions on the paddock.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's been tremendous. He's run and carry. I mean, some of his disposal hasn't probably hit the target, but he gets to the right spot so much, and he's an accumulator, there's no doubt about it.
Well, we're getting ready for the second half to get underway. It is the Sharks leading by 28 points after they led by 17 points at quarter time. Here's the voice of Mark Kennedy.
A beautiful bounce to get us underway in the second half. Give that one to Turner. Menteet, his handball only hit James Rose, who just tries to shake off Turner and does so. Dawson had his kick smothered. Boston will come the other way. So inside forward 50, the first one of the second half. Maybom drops what he probably should have taken. It was Wilkinson off the deck. It just ball through a set of hands forward. That's very clever. Gives it back to Wilkinson. Just good composure there for the Southport Sharks.
Well, we talk about Cody Firewood and his smarts. He even showed in the second quarter he can go back and do a job. He went back on Riley Stoddart and did a fantastic job of shutting him out of the game. So what an impact he's had in 4 games back with this club. Both forward and back a little bit today, and that was great vision to give it. And you're backing from here, Wilkinson.
We've got a good shot of it here on NEAFL TV. Starts it out to the right. It swings violently and gets there. That's 2 for Tom Wilkinson, the boy from Williamstown. 23 years of age, extends the margin very early, inside the first minute, to 34 points in favour of the Sharks.
Yeah, no, been a very good player, hasn't he? He's just so clean overhead, got very good skills, he's got leg speed. You can see why he was a very good player at both Sandringham Dragons and at the Williamstown Footy Club. He's a quality player and been a great instrumental forward for Southport today.
And beautifully judged as far as the win goes as well. You can see the violent curve in it from the right to left. The last goal of the second quarter and the first goal of the third quarter belong to Southport and Tom Wilkinson. They lead by 34 points. The umpire will again restart this bounce. Umpire Brett Ritchie will come in and hurl it up in the air. Darcy Cameron versus Jed Turner. Turner did beautifully to get it down. Jordan Dawson propels it forward, right half forward. Reading it nicely, Clayton. On the left boot, Stoddart. It bounces kindly for him. He gathers. Gets confronted by Johnson, gets the handball back to O'Riordan, now back to Stoddart. It was actually McKellar who gave the ball to him. He got back involved, McKellar. He overcooked the handball. Now it's Clayton. Handball off to Roos. Roos now out of the corner of his eye. He saw something he liked. Lee Dale, I'm going to give him that kick. Was that a pass, Kanga, or was it off the side of the shoe?
I'm saying no, but Bob Batty, your view?
Look, I think it was just a little bit of a miss kick, but it was put into a dangerous spot, and I think that's the key, wasn't it? If he had kicked the middle of the footy, I think it would have gone left and gone out of bounds. So in some ways, it was a smart miss kick.
Well played. Nice sitting on the fence there, Bob Batty. Lee Dale from 45 directly in front. He'll have to aim it very right. It'll come back. He's got the distance and the accuracy. Sharkies with the first couple of goals of the third quarter. 40 points the margin. And we've played a couple of minutes of the third quarter on NEAFL TV through Bar TV.
Yeah, good finish there from Lee Dale. Look, he's been a very consistent player for him, hasn't he? He does as we watch the tribal sport replay, and it was a beautifully judged kick at goal. He looks ungainly around the footy. He doesn't look as though he's going to have that much polish on him, but I tell you what, he'd be one of the first blokes selected by Steve Daniel and the coaches.
Well, he's been used as very much an inside type player. He's been with a run with role as well, but he's been effective for the most part of the year and a vital cog in the Southport machine as we're underway again. Turner again gets it down to Clayton. Turner, he's tackled by Rose. Bell comes in and puts a bit of a bump in there. Clements gets it out to Manteet on the left. 1 foot or one step it goes over the top, and coming through was Wilkinson, but even better courage, O'Riordan. That was spectacular the way he's done that.
Disposal.
A little bit sore.
Oh, he would be. Disposal number 15 there for Colin O'Riordan. Free kick. Andrew Adair has pulled one out. It'll go to Southport. Advantage. Back of the pack. Wilkinson. Spoiled there by McKellar. Picked up by Johnson and snaps the goal. Mitch Johnson gets his second. And the Sharkies starting really hard in the third quarter. 9-2-56. 1-4-10 the Sydney Swans. 46 points the margin, Mark Kennedy.
Well, they made their move, haven't they? I mean, they were 28 points ahead at half-time, but they just absolutely put the foot to the floor. 3 goals in 4.5 minutes of football in this third quarter. All of a sudden, 46 points. It's a long way back as we saw Wilkinson impact the contest, and then at ground level. Again, they're so dangerous at ground level. They got, I said, between Hancock, Wilkinson and Johnson, they'd kick 8 for the day. They've got 5 so far.
Oh, well played, Kanga. Mark Kanga Kennedy here on NEAFL TV through Bar TV. Bounce down in the middle. Boston gives it to Ruse. Basically spiked it into his hands. He was immediately tackled by Bailey Stewart. We'll get another ball up inside the centre square.
Don't underestimate the work Jed Turner's doing on Cameron here. He's really negating him very, very well.
He just tried to throw the shoe at it there, Turner, but thought better of it. Baxter's wrapped up by Wicks, and we'll have another ball up as Darcy Cameron takes offence at something there. Manteet and also Dale were involved there. Rose actually shepherded Cameron from the stoppage there. Flanagan tries to hit Rose. He's got good leg speed, so he'll get back to the ball first. And he's ripped off the ball. That was too high, right in front of us here. Good decision by the umpires. Done a reasonable job this afternoon, and it'll be James Rose that will come up with the football. Tried hard so far.
James Rose, yeah, the leading possession winner for Sydney. With this as his 18th disposal. Quality footballer. Geez, that's violently held up in the breeze. How'd you be kicking against it? James Bell just let loose the ball. Umpire had no other option apart to ping him for holding the agate. So Seb Tate, he's got the free kick, just chips it in the direction of O'Shea. Punched away from him. Rose gets involved again. Touch number 19, Maybaum. Lowers the eyes, but he hits El Mucho right in front of his home clubhouse here at Fankhauser Reserve. A long kick from Boston, a floater. It hits Wilkinson. He read it beautifully, did Tom Wilkinson. Now, Swannies have got the numbers back. He's just waiting for an option to present itself. Now he's pointing Babe Ruth style to the outfield. Tommy Wilkinson directing a fair bit of traffic here. Do you reckon he might have this? He'd have to kick it to the drainage ditch to the right of the point post,
It's a very, very tough kick, isn't it? He really got to go to that right point post.
Well, he's run around on the right, and then he's tried to kick the suitcase out of it. Well read by Maybaum, punched away from him. Clayton shows some toe, can't quite pick it up. Toes it towards the boundary line. Mitch Johnson picks it up, gets around 1-2. Handball to Reeves. Reeves hooks it around front and centre. Punched by O'Riordan. Dale tackled. Dale, the ball stuck underneath him. Swannies will get out of here.
Oh, no, they won't. Now, I was going to say, just a little bit of fumbling. That was McKellar. Gets it up. Bell stands under it and got absolutely ding-donged in the spoil. O'Riordan, he's underneath it.
I heard what you did there.
Don't mind a pun. And the ball will be thrown up 65 metres from Southport's goal. They are attacking. 3 straight goals to open this third quarter. No clear winner of that ruck contest. Rose it was, just comes through. Gives it to Stern. Dangerous. Stern will end up with the ball, though. Well done by the young man. Gets his kick away in time. Just finds a nice target. It's Kilpatrick. He turns, goes. He's got the run of Bell. He's had nowhere to go. He was set upon immediately by Clark. Dale gets a handball for Southport. Doesn't hit its target. McKellar goes through. Now to Dawson. All he can do is just shuffle the ball inside forward 50. Brodie Murdoch's there, and he puts it back with a bit of interest, trying to bring rain. And then attacking it there hard was Wilkinson, or in fact it was O'Shea. Wilkinson with the tackle, though, too high.
Was too high.
Coming up with it will be Flanagan.
Connor Flanagan from the St George Dragons. Another academy prospect. Well done on the mark by Wilkinson, and then he had Brown coming off the bench. Now the Swannies have got the numbers. McKellar, one way, then the other, the right shoe, and what the ball! Now there's a player who's gone down, Jake Brown, after he got rid of that last ball. What's happened there, gentlemen? Did the knee just go?
I think it's a knee.
I think there was a clash. He hasn't moved. I think he's actually was concussed at least. I'm guessing, because I had an eye on him there, and from the moment he went down, he didn't writhe in pain. He just didn't move. So I think he might have been temporarily knocked out.
Okay, the physio's just called for the stretcher here. So what we might do is actually just have a look at the replay. See it go over the top there. Brown comes out, and geez, that looked innocuous, didn't it? There was nothing nasty about it, but he got stuck underneath there, and as he copped it in and around the head and shoulders. I think
Wilkinson accidentally got him with the elbow inadvertently and accidentally on the way through.
Ethan Mackey's on the boundary line. You're a little bit closer than us. Ethan, how did you see that one unfolding with Jake Brown?
Boys, this is Jake Brown, obviously down. That was a pretty severe collision. I think it was Tommy Wilkinson trying to tap the ball on. Brown came off the bench from behind that contest, and at the moment we're not too sure what the concern is particularly about, whether it is going to be head or a knee issue, but they're being very delicate. Obviously the stretcher was called for initially. A lot of silence sort of around the ground as well throughout the crowd here at the moment. A bit of shock going around, so never like to see this to any player, particularly in a grand final, and just hoping that Jake Brown can get himself up and out of this, but looks pretty serious at the moment.
Thanks very much. Ethan Mackey on the boundary line. Jake Brown, the boy from Coffs Harbour. He went Coffs Harbour, Sydney Academy. Now he is a listed player. He had 22 disposals and 5 tackles and a goal last week. He was an inspirational player, and that very unfortunate to see the young man taken out like this as well. And it was reasonably innocuous. I don't think there was anything malicious in it at all. It just sort of happened, didn't it?
No, that's right. I think it was just an accidental clash there. We know that Tom Wilkinson was the man involved in the contest and the collision, but certainly no malice, absolutely not, I wouldn't have thought.
He has impacted this game, though, hasn't he, Wilkinson? He's really attacked the footy hard, even in that marking contest just prior to that. His attack on the footy is very, very good, and he's kicked 2 nice goals, and he's given another one off. He's been very instrumental in this lead as all the Sydney Swans players come over to Jake Brown. It's a sign of togetherness, isn't it, when they can all come over and wish the young fella all the best. As you said, the Swans Academy player that come through and is now on the rookie list, Rising Star nomination last year, and now a rookie player with the Swans. And as you said last week, Michael, he was instrumental in them getting across the line against the Canberra Demons, and they're going to miss him for the last quarter and a half here as he's coming off the ground.
Yes, we can see the Southport players, you can see the crowd as well. As young Jake Brown gets stretchered off the ground, he's got the neck protection as well, and of course we just stipulate that is there as a precautionary measure. We don't know exactly what the extent of the injury is at the moment, but they're doing the right things. They have a great deal of experience, the physios and the doctors, especially in and around this area. Southport Sharks have always been brilliant in that regard, dealing with it.
Old Doc McKenzie there.
Old Doc McKenzie
is out there giving a hand, which is great to see.
Well, he's one of the few doctors that have seen both Kanga and myself, for different reasons though.
And we might just go down to Ethan Brown for a few more comments on that.
Well, there's a bit going on right in front of us at the moment. Big Darcy Cameron and Jed Turner. It looks like a reversal, this one, but just going back to the Jake Brown incident, had a chat to Dr. Alan McKenzie. The neck is the concern, the way they got the stretcher out there so quickly points to a little bit of worry around that, but all precautionary from his point of view, so fingers crossed for Jake Brown.
And play. Thanks, Ethan Mackey. Gets it off to Clements. An inside forward 50. Apologies, I called Ethan by the wrong name.
Ethan Brown.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where I got that one from.
I don't.
Apologies, Ethan.
Earlier on, I swear I slipped a bit of Harry Styles into Angus Styles.
That's all right.
Wrong direction.
We're talking about Jake Brown. A couple of players mixed up there. My apologies, but we'll get underway. And Cameron had front spot. Plenty of players around the contest. I think there might be a bit of feeling here just for a moment.
I think the Swans are a little bit stunned by that. You could actually see the players milling around young Jake Brown as he was stretched off as the ball gets propelled towards the boundary line. We'll have another throw in. You can actually see them, and that's a real positive. And as Bob, you said, a show of that Bloods, I suppose, mentality, that unified mentality. When the young man was taken down, the Swans all walked over to him. It was good stuff. Josh Hall versus Darcy Cameron. James Rose. Once again, the ball almost goes backwards off the boot. Taken by Seb Tape. He brushes them off. Handball now. It's going to go back inside 50 towards the goal square. And, oh boy, it floated back. Colin O'Riordan, who's been monumental back there. His 20th disposal, the Swans skipper, will come after that behind from Southport. 57, place 10-47 the margin.
It's 15 for him, mate, but that's 16 now. It was Rose with 20, up to 21.
I couldn't see. Your finger was in the way.
Yeah, my big fat finger was there. The ball rolls out of bounds. Not unsurprising, Bob Batty.
Yeah, look, he's been good back there, but the ball's been down there a hell of a lot, hasn't it? It's been one-way traffic this quarter. Southport got their tails up. They can sniff a premiership.
Ball just coming through was Manteet. He just couldn't get his hands to it. Stoddart now. Chain of handballs. He can't find Styles, so there might be another turnover. Tate gets it off. Clements will come onto it. There's a push, and it goes. Is advantage paid? No. So the ball will come back. It'll come back to Seb Tape. You've got a push from Bell. So Seb Tape, probably one criticism of his game, his kicking's probably not as good as it could be. So will he go for it, you think, Bob, from where he is?
Well, it's not beyond his range, isn't it? He can certainly kick the ball long. At times he can get it a little bit off the instep, but I think he might just kick this to the top of the square.
And that he does. Just lobs it up, looking for a target. Front spot there was Wilkinson going at it. Doesn't mind a fly, little man. And then there's just plenty of players at ground level. Don't mind.
Not bad for 181 centimetres, Tom Wilkinson. Well, he loves to fly.
I might have actually got that wrong. It was O'Shea. We're underway again. And Hancock gives away a free kick in the back pocket. It'll go off to Flanagan.
So Flanagan has the ball. What's the hold up here?
Just a bit frustrated at the moment, aren't they, the Sydney Swans? They really just need to cool their heels a little bit.
Jordan Dawson chips it nicely to Riley Stoddart, but he was pressured by Hall. He had to go left, then right, then left, then right, and then he handballs it to McGrath, goes the 1-2. Misses the 1-2. McGrath gets hammered. Ball spills. It's starting to fall apart a little for the Swannies. The youngsters really trying their hardest, but the bigger bodies are starting to smash them up a little bit in the clinches.
Well, under pressure, it's that process that starts to fall apart under that consistent weight of pressure.
Ball up. Josh Hall, Clayton, a bit of volleyball. Reeves gets it in there, tight, and now hacks it out, does Reeves. Kicks it to the top of the square, front and centre. Oh, there he is, Cody Firewood, tackled by O'Riordan. Should have been pinged for holding the ball, nothing happening. There's Ellum, gets the handball. Jordan Dawson's pinged for holding the ball. And that's Jack O'Shea. And the play on has happened. Who stole it off Jack O'Shea? Was it Clements?
Yes, it was.
He just pinched a goal off him in a granny. Great tackle from O'Shea, but Clements took the advantage and won goal. So that's 10-3-63, playing 1-4-10, 53 points the margin. And we've played around about 18 minutes of this third term, but it will be a long quarter because of that break.
Yes, it will be a long quarter, but great work, Jack O'Shea. He's really worked hard to get an opportunity in this team, and that was a beautiful tackle from him. He's played mostly in defence, the boy from Broad Beach, but that was good work. And Clements, as you said, had a fairly quiet game today, but the bigger bodies, even the little fellas, have got big bodies. You mentioned Wilkinson, got a big body. Clayton, big body. Ruse, big body. They're all getting involved in this quarter.
He's applied good pressure as Clements, even though he hasn't been a huge possession getter. Clayton gets the kick away, doesn't find too much of a target. Stern gets on the end of it for the Swans. Go through the middle of the ground. That was Bailey Stewart. Gives the handball off, finds Angus Styles. Styles just tries to measure one up, but just Seb Tape just doing well at half back, and just the commentator's curse. Just doesn't quite find Wilkinson. The ball went out of bounds on the full, so it'll be Stoddart that comes up with it. Riley Stoddart. It is. Just try and load it back. They need a goal. And they need it now, and they need it badly. Darcy Cameron, that's a wonderful mark. He looked out of position, but did it well.
He is a jet, this man. Absolutely stunning that he is ruckman number 3 on the Swans list behind Naismith and Sinclair. That's the other one, Callum Sinclair. As Seb Tape comes forward, handballs it indiscriminately. Maybaum, tackle by Tape, gets the handball away to Rogers. Now Rogers kicks it straight up. It's just dead set stopping mid-air with that breeze. Clark could have got a free kick, nothing happening. Stern's kick was smothered by Clark in turn. Now Fife measures it. Maybaum, and beautifully done there by Hancock to explode the ball over the boundary. We're going to throw in around the interchange gates. They are not giving up this Swans outfit. They're 53 points down. Scoreboard, well, it's blowing out a little, but you can still see their competitive nature.
Well, it's a hallmark of the Sydney Swans, isn't it?
It is. Look, it's an important 10 minutes, though, isn't it? If Southport get the next 2, it could really raise the flag a little bit here for the Swans, but it's not in their DNA.
So Clements squeezes a handball out, gets it to Boston, right to the forward 50, O'Riordan with the big spoil. Bell comes through, couldn't take it with him, no. Fife just pushes it forward. O'Riordan just gets in the way, does well. Does real well. Puts in the path of Schumack. Taylor's right there with him. One-on-one contest. Well done by Schumack. The handball smothered though, so Wilkinson comes away with it, comes up to Clayton. Clayton just puts it in board. Wasn't the greatest of kicks. Johnson's there, gives it quickly back to Taylor, who tries to go with the up and under. Hancock's there, but it's going to be too far. Out of bounds on the full. Offline it was. Missed everything as the breeze just took it, and then took it some more.
I reckon there's a hairpiece or two that's in danger here in the Cabana Bar with that breeze. Long kick. Darcy Cameron trying to make his way to the front. Clark did actually miss the ball because the wind was blowing it again towards the boundary line. We'll get another throw in. Sharkies leading this by 53 points, and we played 21 minutes of the third term. NEAFL TV through Bar TV.
Wouldn't it be an epic day for kite flyers today with that breeze? Like, they would get some real elevation.
You want to be anchored to the ground too, just quietly. James Rose, who's the leading possession winner for Sydney, propels it forward. Sam Wicks, Bailey Stewart onto the logo. He's confronted, nobody to kick to. That's a clever kick, and he gives it into Kilpatrick. Connor Kilpatrick takes off. That's good from the Swans. Elam, the left footer. He's got his mate there in McGrath. Can he find him? McGrath can't handle it. Davis, and they'll just mop it up. All their experience, the Southport Sharks defence, they've got this.
Well, Murdoch it was. Goes to the outer wing. Johnson's there. He's taken high. He'll win the free kick. There's no doubt about that. Stoddart stands the mark. And he knows summer's coming, does Mitch Johnson. You're getting the baby oil. Getting the Instagram followers on full alert after today.
Loves a little
Summer's coming.
Oiling up the guns for summer.
Oh, I think more than the guns. I think he oils up the whole kit.
Got the whole kit. I tell you what, if you've got a kit like that, why not oil it up? Mitch Johnson, he's built like a brick outhouse, hasn't he?
Bit of man love from Michael Price. As the ball thrown back into play.
Just admiring.
Turn up beautifully down to Fife. Doesn't quite find Ruse. Bumped off it by Elm. And Elm comes through. Clean set of heels. Well done by the young man. Couple of bounces. Kicks inside forward 50. Nobody there. Taylor drops it. Puts Dawson in for a race. and goes off the ground and kicks a goal. 2 for Jordan Dawson.
And 2 for the Sydney Swans.
And he's kicked both of them. You're right.
Exactly.
I just had to look. And well done there by the big man in Hamish Elam. Down the outer side, Bob Batty.
Oh, didn't he show a set of wheels, didn't he? He took off, the big fella. He's 104 kilos, if you don't mind it. Nearly 17 years of age. And he just took off, kicked it long. It was a good effort by Dawson. He was outnumbered and just got the ball to the ground. It was enough to get a toe poke on it, and it just dribbled through. Badly needed, to say the least, for the Sydney Swans. Can it breathe some life back into their contest here today?
Well, they will be kicking with the breeze in this final term coming up. So if they can get close enough, you never know. As we go back into the middle, Josh Hall athletically gets over the top, slaps it into the path. Is that Clements underneath all there? Back to Boston. Scrubs it forward. Under pressure does Boston. Well done the Sydney defence. Maybaum, who I reckon has had a big game as well. He's seen enough of the pill. Kicks it long down there. Tyler Roos comes back. Had a very good game. Handball to Clayton. Back to Roos. Well done. Kicks it to centre half forward. Reinhardt at the back is Johnson. Roving Clements. Clements. Johnson. Tackled by Stoddart. And beautifully done there by Stoddart to put the pressure on. McKellar can't get out. Maybaum can. Rose and Stoddart. Now they're out, the Swannies.
Well, they did well. The defence held firm under enormous pressure. Stoddart, couple of bounces outside his defensive 50. Well done. Finds Rayner on the lead. Gives it up quickly. Inboard, Schumack just turns it over to Boston, so that's not what they wanted there. And Andrew Boston, don't miss the mustache, don't miss the boots.
He's had 6 inside 50s, Andrew Boston.
Well, I think one thing you won't miss is the highlight of that kick that he did, because he kicked it straight to Rayner. Ball comes back. And now Southport, after the scrimmage, can get it going their way again. Clark, right to centre half forward, just eludes everybody. Back there waiting is O'Riordan from defensive 50. Chips the ball in. Bell's got to be good. Just gets it to ground. Stewart gets it to the defensive 50. Murdoch can't take it cleanly, but just flips it up into the direction of Tate. Coming through there. What's the Swans in Stern? Tackle applied. And well done there by O'Riordan. I just saw him down the other end of the field. He's followed it up. He's tried hard. He's been phenomenal.
If you're going to lead by example, that's the way to do it, Colin O'Riordan.
Oh, yes. Brilliant work from the Irishman, the All-Ireland boy, as we mentioned.
So Swannies now. Stoddart could have caught one in the back or high. Now it's over there. O'Riordan now plays with the advantage, kicks long, but reading it again and taking his 12th mark is Ryan Davis. He plays on immediately. Clements, will it bounce for him? It doesn't. He runs past it, goes back, does enough to get Reeves involved. Reeves comes in, picks it up. Now it's Johnson versus Veerhouse. Both miss it. Wilkinson at the back. Wilkinson with the hands. Payne, the right foot from Brenton Payne across the face. One behind results. 64 plays 16. 48 points the margin. Southport leading.
There was an early celebration there from Payne, wasn't it? He was pumping the fist, but the wind got hold of it and took it out in the car park for one behind.
Kick out, went up the middle there. Found Bailey Stewart. Not sure where to go, so he's going to go to the outer side. There's a man out there. And that man was Reinhardt. A little chipping ball. Chain of kicks only finds 5, so they turn the ball over. That was O'Riordan
and
was
50.
And 50
for
inside the protected area.
The demilitarised zone, and it looks like the young fella in Cooper Kilpatrick, the black ponytail, was the man who was the infringer. I don't like the rule. It's very difficult to adjudicate, but it was there under the way the rule is structured.
Yes, the umpire's got to give it if it's there. It's in the rule book, and Kilpatrick just in the wrong place at the wrong time, and the ponytail has come off for that one and straight to the bench. So this could be a real dagger in the heart.
Dylan Fife just shoots it. Kicks his second, the boy from Lauderdale. And like the energy of Dylan Fife today, 15 disposals, 5 tackles, a couple of inside 50s, and now 2 goals to go with it. First saw him in the season opener, his first game for Southport. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. Wasn't sure about the tan coming from Tassie, and I thought he had got a suntan via an iPhone there at one stage, but he's been tremendous.
Yeah, liked his game today. He's been like plenty of other Southport Shark players too. They've all pitched in and done their part, and that's what the coaches demanded, and that's what they've given today.
We're back into the middle, and we'll do it all again. I'm not going to even bother calling the first bounce anymore. I'm just going to wait till the second one. It's not their fault. It's a hard thing to do. Cameron versus Turner. Turner did well. Fife kicks it straight up in the air. Big contest. Good fist away from Rogers. Hits the deck. Dale. Stoddart. He's just tried hard all day as Stoddart. So's this young fella in Stern. I like the cut of his jib. He gets in front of Clements. Gets the handball back, but they've turned it over now. It's hooked back. Johnson in front. Beautifully read by McKellar. Well done. Young fella from St George Dragons. And there you go. It's how to make you feel old. He was born in February 2000, so he's an under 18. All the kids that are coming through that were born in the year 2000 are coming through now just to make you feel a little bit extra age.
Yeah, that's right. And somebody else who'll be feeling their age just got a message from a friend of mine in Hong Kong who's bunkered down in a hotel room as the biggest typhoon in history hits there. So stay well, Trevor Larkins and family.
Oh,
Hope
good
you,
luck.
Bunkered down and doing all right there. Thanks to everybody watching right around the world with us on NEAFL TV. Thanks to our broadcast partner, Bar TV. Quick kick out from Reeves. Hancock has a little bit of space. Probably had more time than he used. And ball up the top. Johnson brings it to ground for Southport. Forwards there. Johnson will just get it. Look to turn around. Tries to feed it back to Payne. Probably not the best handball there. Well done by the Swans defence. Young Stern gets in away. Here's Bell. Chain of handballs doesn't find Bailey Stewart, so Bell's got to go back and do it all again. And the kick in board finds Elam.
So, young fella Hamish Elam, last year was running around with the Grafton Tigers, went to Sydney and started playing with Manly Warringah. Gave it to James Rose, who tried to bust through a couple. Seb Tape drops him onto the logo. You can't blame James Rose for having a crack at trying to bust through. Tape just goes backwards and buffers up the stats of Tyler Roos and Ryan Davis. They get it to the outer side now, Southport, to the fat side. It's with Taylor. They've opened this up all day. Now they see the Swans have come back, so it's back to Davis, back to Roos. It's going to come back down this side of the ground. Brodie Murdoch just being held up. They're just content now. Just padding up the stats between those three. And it's just waxing late in the third term. We played 31 minutes, but there was a large stoppage because of the injury that happened to the young fella from Sydney and Jake Brown. So, but they are just waxing a bit here, Southport, keeping the ball out of the hands of Sydney, sort of breaking their hearts a bit. Jed Turner. Now, Darcy Cameron is a jet of a ruckman. Jed Turner has done a magnificent job today.
Yeah, fantastic, Ever. 2 weeks in a row he's
there's
well.
Johnson at the back. He read it best, and he runs in, curls it around, and kicks another one. His third, Mitch Johnson. And the Sharkies are loving it here in the Cabana Bar at Fankhauser Reserve. 12-4-76 to 2-4-16. It's 10 goals the margin. Bob Batty.
Well, that was like a little bit of rope-a-dope, wasn't it? They went backwards, forwards, sideways, backwards, forwards, sideways, 3 or 4 times. Got nowhere. Then Saunders says, well, damn this, I'm going to go long and find Turner. Turner's gone bang. And what a finish there from Mitch over the back. He just made it. As soon as he got it in his hands, you knew it was going to be a sausage roll, didn't you?
He loves a
He's
goal.
very clever.
I reckon he loves a goal more than he loves oiling up the pecs for the Instagram, Kanga.
He loves an Instagram follow-up. There's no doubt about that. Boston emerges from it again. Umucho. Josh Hall is all by himself out here. He's got a paddock in front of him. I think he was just coming on the ground and said thank you. Goes up towards Johnson. Just goes over the back. Right there was O'Riordan and also McKellar. So the margin now 60 points. Biggest grand final margin, 69 points in 2012. Brisbane beating Queanbeyan.
The Queanbeyan Tigers. So, Umpire's throwing it in. Josh Hall at the back gets over the top of Cameron, slaps it down. James Rose does well, kicks it out of defence. Wind holds it up a bit. Seb Tape over the top, smashes it. Jed Turner couldn't quite collect it. Well done there by Reinhardt. Got the ball away. Still fighting Sam Wicks. Rose gets it across now to Styles. He hacks it indiscriminately, and Davis and Rose will just rack up the stats again. Oh, the pair of them have been monumental on the half-back line. And I reckon they're both in the conversation for the Andrew Island medal as best of field at the moment, Davis and Ruse. Darcy Cameron read this best. Front and centre O'Shea. Cameron grabbed him and threw him into the ground. Boston gets it to Tape. Tape shoots a handball off the door and he'll take it over the boundary line. O'Shea and Darcy Cameron. The little ones are getting into Darcy Cameron a bit today. I think they've been targeting that particular
player. He's been frustrated very well by Jed Turner, hasn't he? And he's not shaping up to Jed Turner. He's having a crack at O'Shea. So there you go. Sums it up.
So Cameron took front spot on that occasion. Menteith back to Doran. Doran, he'll go on his left. And we were just about for a second, glimmer of hope of me getting a champion data stat and racking them up. And Tyler Ruse, he leads all comers at the moment with 27, but James Rose has 26 for the Swans. Inside 50s, 39 to 23, so really starting to go Southport's way. The man with the ball is Angus Styles, goes down the line. Darcy Cameron front spot and takes a nice mark in front of Jake Doran.
So Darcy Cameron, handball now across to Veerhouse. Veerhouse inside 50. Oh, they read it beautifully. That's a great mark taken by Ryan Davis. He read it beautifully, but gee whiz. He has just been the loose man in defence all day and has just been racking them up. He tries the short pass to Firewood, punched away from him, Clark. He enters, tackled by Elam. Sam Wicks comes in for Sydney, tackled immediately, threw it away. Could have been a free kick to Southport, nothing happening. They're still battling the Sharkies. Taylor goes in. He's tackled there by Styles. And also Cooper Kilpatrick and Sam Wicks it was. We'll get a ball up right on 50. And there is the three-quarter time siren. And the Southport faithful loving that one. That was the quarter where Southport kicked 6 goals to 1 straight goal to Sydney at three-quarter time, 12-4-76 to 2-4-16. That is 10 goals straight. The margin, your goal scorers for Southport. Mitch Johnson's got 3, Wilkinson and Fife with 2, and your singles to Menteith, Dale, Hancock, Firewood and Clements. Jordan Dawson's kicked the 2 Sydney Swans goals. 10 goals the margin at three-quarter time. Can the Swannies conjure up a miracle here, Kanga? What's going to happen?
Well, no, they can't. Not for mine. And the loss of Jake Brown in that third quarter certainly hurt any chance that they might have had. But Southport, they've just had too many contributors across the ground. And while the Swans Academy players have tried hard, and I think particularly James Rose and also Colin Riordan and to a lesser extent Riley Stoddart have been their best. It just, the overwhelming nature of Southport has just taken control, Bob.
Certainly has, Mark. Well summed up. And look, it's a mission probably a bit too far, I think, for all the young boys from the Swans Academy. They've tried hard. They've really ran hard. The breezy conditions have made it difficult for their skill level. But it's just been the bigger bodies and the more mature bodies and the experience of that Southport backline that have just dominated. Ryan Davis, Jason Taylor. You've got Seb Tape. They've just dominated back there and really worked hard. And obviously Ruse has worked back from his wing position, pushing back and giving it that extra defender has really helped as well. But they've been far too good. 10-goal lead. It's going to be, as you said, Kanga, just a little bit of a bridge too far for the Swans. But I'm sure, knowing their culture and what Ty Keneally will be saying to them, that they're going to come out and have a red-hot crack in this last quarter.
So the big ruck contest we thought was going to be the major player of the game. We've talked about it. Darcy Cameron, one of the best young ruckmen in the league, if not the best. And Jed Turner, who's a bit of a journeyman. Jed Turner served it up to Jake Spencer last week, the much Vaunted, that's the word I'm looking for, Jake Spencer. And the same thing's happening now. I think Jed Turner has done a remarkable job against Darcy Cameron. 33 hit-outs to 25. Cameron's leading, but it is just around the ground where he's been nullified. Cameron's only collected the 13 disposals. He's usually a little bit more great output from Darcy Cameron in that regard.
Well, again, he's had the task and to back up 2 weeks in a row to really try and nullify the opposition ruckman is a real feather in Jed Turner's cap. And as you said, I think it's as much as about the physicality, it's about that follow-up work, the second efforts to try and stretch them at ground level to make them work a little bit harder. Darcy Cameron, I should say, is there's no doubt going places for mine.
Absolutely.
And I don't think this is an accurate reflection on his overall season and what we're going to see as a career for him. But, you know, every now and then, a ruckman, probably not of the same calibre as you, can really sort of rise to that challenge and take control. And, you know, kudos to Jed Turner on that basis.
Oh, look, no doubt he's just wearing him down. He's put the arm across him, he's bumped him, he's annoyed him. And he's had a few mates in there too in the midfield that have sort of been into him as well. I noticed even little Dylan Fife, a little mosquito, trying to knock into him there in that last contest. So, look, it's a great team effort when you got to beat a player of that stature. You've got to really do the work as a team, and they've done that today, the Southport Sharks.
Yeah, have a look at the Southport Sharks crowd. Get around the players at three-quarter time. You can see it on screen right now. They've got the large Sharkies flag there. That is a three-quarter time huddle to entertain the crowd, isn't it? Well, it'd be wonderful to be a fly on the wall and see what's happening there. But I dare say it'll just be reinforcing that message. Stephen Daniel and his coaching staff have done a superb job all year, Bob Batty.
They certainly have, and look, you wouldn't want to get flicked by that flag, the way it's fluttering away there with all the people around it, but he'll take off, that fellow with the hat on, if he lifts it up too high. Have a look, he's just about to windsail himself across to, looks like the beach right out the back there, and no, it's a great huddle, isn't it? And that's the one thing, you look at NEAFL footy, and it's great to have the crowd coming onto the ground, listening to the coaches and really feeling a part of the conversation.
That's why I love State League footy. You've got the mixture of the AFL clubs with the players who are trying to get up there or coming back there, and then you've got the academy players, and then you've got your State League clubs, which are the wonderful mix of the community footballers, the part-timers, the full-timers. I absolutely adore this league. NEAFL has grown another leg for me in 2018. The Tribal Sport NEAFL Final Series has been a cracker. The grand final is also beauty.
And let's be fair, I think it's great to see a lot of Sydney supporters out here this afternoon as well. They've come up, not only obviously from Sydney and so forth, but I think from the surrounds that live in southeast Queensland and show their support, and it's great, and we know there'll be plenty of people watching in Sydney as well.
Absolutely. Okay, let's have a look. Is Ethan down on the boundary? Let's have a go to him. Ethan Mackey is down on the boundary. He's been in the Southport huddle. What do you got for us, Ethan?
Boys, the last quarter of the season we've got here and we're moving into it now. The message around Sydney was just to tidy up a little bit moving inside 50. Obviously try and rattle Southport and end the season on a good note, but the language that they were using was a bit of a sign of resignation. We crossed over to the Southport huddle. Steve Daniel was really focused on the process and the first 10 minutes, making sure that's good. He said if you get that first 10 minutes right, you'll be holding the cup up in 25 minutes. So as much as they're excited about what's going on, they're going to make sure that this is real focus and they knuckle down in this first period of the quarter.
Well done, Ethan Mackey. Some great work on the boundary line today, champion. So there it is in the Southport huddle. Stephen Daniel just saying process. First 10 minutes. Let's just bed this down and then we can start thinking about what else is going on for the rest of the game. Bob Batty.
Yeah, wise words from the coach. He's been around the mark. He knows what it is. He's coached a lot of footy right around in AFL states, and he's done a fantastic job with this group. And as he mentioned earlier in the interview with Ethan Mackey, his assistant coaches, don't underestimate the work that Aaron Cornelius and Matthew Lappin have done around the coaching traps as well.
They've done some great work. This is the 2018 NEAFL Grand Final quarter. Michael Price, and this is Mark Kennedy to get us started.
And here we are. Fankhaus Reserve. After this one, we're going to crown a champion for 2018. Boston goes down. Ellum gets it going forward Sydney's way to start with, and just going back with great courage is Jordan Taylor in front of Stoddart. Eyes on the ball. Bring it out to right near the commentary part of the ground. It's a free kick. And I'm going to work out what this free kick is for in just a moment. And Southport, too many players on the ground. So am I right in saying...
Oh, no. They do a count here.
They need to do a count.
Holy snapping lats. This could be one of the biggest moments in NEAFL history. How many have they got on the bench down there, Kanga? Can you see?
Well, I think we might see if we can... Ethan Mackey might be the man to help us in that situation.
Oh, Kanga. I reckon Southport have got 19 on the field.
Yes, I think they have.
I reckon Southport have got 19 on the field. If they do a count here, this could be dramatic. This could be absolutely dramatic. They've got 19 on the field.
I counted them.
Yep.
19.
I cannot believe this. They are leading by 10 goals. They could be stripped of their score here.
Well, let's
They
await
could be
this.
stripped. This could be amazing.
The umpires are doing the count.
Umpires Andrew Adair, Nick McGuinness and Brett Ritchie. This is a phenomenal event.
Yeah, the goal umpires have been called in.
Goal umpires coming in. They're doing a manual count. You can see it on screen.
Wowee.
This is absolutely amazing. Mark Kanga Kennedy, we have a count in the grand final. I believe Southport have one too many on the field.
Well, what we did see is Wade Hancock running off the field. And I'm not suggesting it was Wade Hancock that necessarily was the 19th player that shouldn't have been on. But I think they were just trying to get a player off, and he was the closest player to that.
Well, umpires all converging in the middle. The Southport players are on the logo. What is going on here? You can see Jared Fields, a footy manager for Southport, sprinting along the sideline. This could be a monumental
Game change for sure.
What's going to happen? So one goes off. They've had 19 on the paddock. Do they scrub them of their score?
Well, this will be a first.
This could be a first. We're just waiting. We'll need to get some official notification from the NEAFL.
The goal umpire's still in the middle, converging. They're just running back now to their respective places.
Now, the umpires are explaining to Sydney, so Sydney will be saying, hey, if there's 19 on the paddock, you counted 19, what's going to happen? You can't just split them back. Something has to be happening here. Ethan Mackey on the boundary line. Ethan, go for it. Tell what is happening down there and what will happen if they're found to have had 19.
Boys, big concerns down here at the moment. Southport with 19 players on the ground for the opening few minutes of this fourth term. Now, this is something that's pretty unprecedented.
Well, there was a count
in
taken.
In a situation like this, there's a bit of a sort of a working out of at the moment of what the rule book actually states in terms of numbers and point deduction and that sort of thing. So we're waiting on all of that at the moment. There's plenty of people having chats over here at the moment, but we'll wait to see what happens.
Plenty of rules going on here.
No.
As kicking the goal.
So O'Riordan has kicked the goal. We need official notification from the NEAFL as what the hell just happened. There was 19 players on the field. One went off. Sydney got a free kick. What is going on? We need some NEAFL people to verify what has gone on.
So they're just checking the rule book now. So there's some checks going on. Plenty of people over the top checking the rule book.
I reckon there's a few tight sphincters in around the NEAFL people down there. They are still trying to figure out what is happening.
Well, the scoreboard's still saying 9 goals to the Southport Sharks. We'll await further notice.
So turn up. Let's concentrate on the play here for a moment, but it's going to go up a notch, you'd suspect, as players converge, and we're going to have a bounce down.
All right, so we've had all of the drama in the world. Now the umpire throws it up. It's Fife. Tackle by Bell. Gets the ball away. Ruse racking up the touches. Bell again. Dale gets involved. He's tackled by Stiles. Back to Fife. Taylor. He's tackled by Wicks. Now Bell. They've lifted a bit here, Sydney. James Rose propels it forward. Now it's well done by O'Shea. Back to Fife. Good smothering effort, Rose. He's going to get the ball back. No, he won't. Stewart couldn't get him. Hacked out there. Southport should have it covered through Wilkinson.
Wilkinson squeezed it out. He was looking for Big Turner. Ellam's there. Plenty of players around the contest. Plenty of confusion going around. And plenty of people looking at rule books left, right and centre.
Well, at the moment, the score reads 76-22. It's 54 points the margin, but we have to get it verified.
So Styles gets it down. Ruse wins the contest. Goes to Fife. Fife down the line. Maybon couldn't take it. And then a free kick, surely for too high. That'll go against Wilkinson. It'll go to Stern. Liked his game this afternoon.
He's a ripping young kid, Josh Stern, isn't he, Bob?
Yeah, no, he's done very well, the boy from Pennant Hills. He really attacks the footy hard, and he's been very, very good for the Swans.
So does this bloke. Wilkinson, he's done beautifully. Kicks it towards forward 50. Cody Filewood, he gathers. Handball over the top. That was a great tackle on Veerhouse, who let loose the ball. Now Wilkinson rolls in and kicks another E. That is his third as well. So 13-4-76 plays 3-4-22. It's 54 points the margin, but I reckon if you had a look at the three-quarter time score, it was 60 points the margin. And Bob, when they did the count, they were 10 goals in front. So now they're 1 goal in front if they wipe the score. Okay, we still have to get this verified for the NEAFL. They've got their heads buried in the rule books underneath there as we speak.
Yeah, I wouldn't trade places with them at this stage. But look, a goal each so far. That was a great bit of play there by the Southport Sharks, and Wilkinson's been instrumental in their forward half today.
There's Boston. El Mucho gets around the left foot, kicks it to left half forward. Gee, Jack O'Shea's got some toe, hasn't he? Stern gets there first, though, gives it back to McKellar. McKellar drops what he might have taken. Southport putting in the big body work at the moment, inside 50. Hancock dives, takes the mark. What a ripping, diving effort from Wade Hancock. So even if they wipe the score up until their Kangaroo have figured out that Southport are a goal in front.
No, that's not right. That's not right.
That's
because,
not.
Well, they can't
Sydney Swans would be 22 points, and it'd be 6 for Southport. But again, need to stress this is still being qualified as to what the rule book says. As
Hancock comes in and kicks it out of bounds on the full. So nothing happening. So it'll be a free kick to Sydney. O'Riordan.
So is it fair to say high drama?
Massive drama here at Fankhauser Reserve. We still need to get some verification, but there's plenty going on underneath us here, Kanga.
A big roost in. Menteith, or in fact it was Tape, emerged with the ball back inside forward 50. Ball at ground level. Wilkinson there. Also there is Sydney Swans players in numbers trying to tie this up. And the urgency around this while this is just being sorted out. It's just gone up a couple of notches.
Well, it'd be 22-6 if they've wiped their score. So 16 points.
So Sydney in front by 16 if they wipe the score. That's a push in the back. And it will go to Southport.
And again, I think we just need to stress that this is still being worked out by the officials as the game progresses.
Correct. As
very much conjecture, that's for sure.
That's right. So it was 10 goals the margin. Just to let you know, Southport had 19 players on the field just after three-quarter time. Handball off now to Brodie Murdoch from 55. He just hooked the heck out of it, and it goes off hands over the boundary line for a throw-in. So Southport with 10 goals in front, ran on, and just after three-quarter time, there was a count, and Southport had 19 on the field at the time. So it has been a highly dramatic final term start here in the 2018 NEAFL Grand Final.
Ball back in. Rose gets a kick away. You've got it down from Cameron at half back now. Ball falls out the back. Jordan Taylor, quick kick, finds Josh Baxter. Went off after the count. It might be added. Kicks the ball into the man on the mark, then goes through hard. Rose, he'll meet it first. He'll be happy to take the ball out of bounds.
Okay.
So in theory, Southport need to kick 3 goals.
Yeah, it's just important for Southport to
to
win the quarter. That's obviously the mandate now, and I think they've certainly lifted in the last few minutes since that count has happened.
Well, they need to, and there's Boston in there for Southport. Can't quite pick it up. Well done, Davis. Close to BOG for mine. Runs to 50 and runs to 50. Oh, and drills it. Wilkinson did a beautiful job shepherding on the line. Ryan Davis has kicked a goal. Amazing stuff. 14-4, 82 to 3-4, 22. So it's back to that 10-goal margin.
Well, how do you explain that one? He's run through the 50 mark. He's let fly into the teeth of the breeze. If you don't mind, Wilkinson looked like he's dancing with his sister, and the ball's bounced over there, gone and through for a goal. A great goal for Ryan Davis and a well-deserved one. He's been a great defender for him all day, and now he's an attacker because they want to really win the quarter.
Could have just pushed him in front in the Andrew Ireland medal voting there. Ryan Davis has had a cracking game.
Well, brings it back. It's at 60-point margin, but a lot more to talk about just yet. Ball out of the middle. It's Manteet. It's it back only to a Swans player who in turn puts it back with a bit more authority. Swooping on it now. This will be Stewart. Got it from McGrath into the path of Schumack, but emerging with it was Clements. Gives it quickly to Tate. Reeves just panicked and kicked it. No real impetus on that kick, and Bailey Stewart can get back on it. Just lobs it down. And Roos takes a nice defensive mark inside, just inside his own defensive 50.
I reckon it's almost a dead heat between Ryan Davis and Tyler Roos at the moment for best on ground honours. Roos kicks along down the line. It have favoured Bailey Stewart because it just held up in the breeze. He was at the front of the pack. Need to move on, young man, does Bailey Stewart. He's having a good look. About 12 minutes gone of this final quarter on NEAFL TV, a dramatic one at that. We're still yet to get verification from our officials. There was a count from one too many players on the field for Southport earlier. Great mark taken at the front.
Dawson.
Jordan Dawson. Well, he missed last week. He was a key figure. Taken at number 56 in the 2015 draft. He has kicked the only 2 goals of the game up until O'Riordan got that third one for Sydney. So he's shooting for his third. From 40, pokes at it, nice. Kicks the goal for Sydney, which, as I say, could be vital as we find out what is going on in this final term here on NEAFL TV.
Yeah, great finish there, and good strong mark. The wind certainly got behind that footy as it was kicked in, and very strong mark, Jordan Dawson, the boy from Sturt in South Australia. He's had 5 AFL games, 4 this year, and he's really going to be a player.
So here we go. We're going to have an update very shortly from the NEAFL officials as to what is happening with regards to the count. So we will let you know. Of course, it will be crucial. James Rose, how about that, hacked out of the congestion, gets to half forward. Southport defence again doing well, but Rose enters the fray. He's been probably Sydney's best today as well, and close to best on ground. Manteet hooks it up. There's Davis, who's moved forward to right half forward, looking for Hall. It bounces in front of the big fella. He can't keep it in. We'll get a throw in front of the Southport bench. The great man, Mark Browning, is in the crowd as well. One of stalwarts of Queensland footy. So another throw in.
Ball. Cameron works his way to the front. Clayton, first man there. Wicks applies the pressure. Now to bounce it goes again. And high drama continues. Waiting with a bated breath just to see where this game will flow. 60 points the margin on the scoreboard at the moment. We did have the drama. 19 players on the field for Southport. Officials still working it out. Rose gets a muffled kick away. Wicks gets on it. And now the kick came. It was a bit indiscriminate there from Ryan Hart. Tate, he's been good all day as well. Brodie Murdoch just tries to run off Stoddard. No mean feat. Gets on the left as Murdoch. Forward, very strong mark. Just forward to centre, turns, goes, puts it down deep. O'Riordan back there, spoiled by Wilkinson. Manteet, handball didn't find his target. He goes again, Manteet. And the umpire will ball it up as plenty of players come around on top.
What?
Well, Wilkinson hasn't he really attacked the footy hard today? He's taking no prisoners today. He's just running straight and hard at the footy.
Cameron gets it down. Sydney with the numbers at ground level. Doran can't do it. Cameron could. Gets it to Bell. Bell scrubs it forward. Riley Stoddart has it punched away from him by Ruse. Sam Wicks tackled off it. Boston, left foot from Boston. Dangerous spot. And it was O'Riordan who couldn't rack it in with the one hand, but he goes back again. Great stuff up forward there from Southport, putting the pressure on from Davis. And Hancock misses. Sorry. Johnson, Guns, Oil, and Instagram. It was him. 3 goals, 1. So
you'd back him from there too, Pricey. It was one where he had a little bit more time and he snapped it too quick and threw for 1 point.
Loves it inside the traffic area there, Mark Kennedy.
So the ball over the back of the pack. Taylor on it, feeds it out to Baxter. Baxter on the left foot, puts it back into a dangerous spot, looking for a target. Cameron, he came hard. Coming through, bursting through was Wilkinson. Then around the corner, forward! Hits the post. He burst through, didn't he? And just couldn't quite finish it. Exciting play for an exciting player in Cody Firewood.
Well, hasn't this gone up a level and a half since that count's been taken? And that's a great snap from Cody Firewood. You'd see the desperation of the Southport Shark players, that they really know that this is on the line here.
Absolutely. It's a massive kick from James Rose towards Cameron. Well done by Cooper Kilpatrick to Elam. Elam slung off it as he got his kick. Reeves bundles it in towards 50. Bailey Stewart controls it well and sinks the slipper into a torpedo, if you don't mind. Well done by Clark. It was put forward by Schumack. Intercepted by Taylor, back to Boston. Boston inside 50. Here we go. Big fly, James Rose. How about that? Great defensive mark. And his 33rd possession, James Rose, just growing as the game grows older.
And 15 clearances, if you don't mind. He has had a magnificent day. Darcy Cameron couldn't get enough on it. Stoddard just had his handball intercepted by Ruse. Ball was out of bounds, though, so it won't go any further. Or in fact, it'll come back and be thrown back into play.
I just mentioned Jordan Dawson, the boy from Sturt. Well, there's another Sturt boy, James Rose, and what a game he's played. He has been fantastic today, both on ball, around the ground, and then taking that cracker mark in defence there under great pressure.
His best performance in the NEAFL this year was 4 goals, and that was against Southport back in May. He's having a cracker today as well, putting his hand up for the Sydney Swans side in the Andrew Island medal as well. Oh, Joey Reinhardt just strolled through traffic. Handball to Bell. Bell beautifully tackled there. A little high, though. Brodie Murdoch will be pinged, and James Bell, much to the chagrin of the Southport punters in the Cabana Bar. So it will be a free kick to James Bell. Now, if we take it from the point where the count was made, Sydney are slightly in front. James Bell, long kick towards the top of the square. Wicks can't rove it. Seb Tape hoiks it out of traffic. Punched away. Well done there by Taylor. Hits the ground. Jack O'Shea toes it forward. Lee Dale enters the fray. Toes it away. It's a race between he and Schumack. Schumack with the clean set of heels. Handballs it back and gives it away to Wilkinson. Now to Firewood. They're away the Sharkies.
Yeah, a little chipping ball. Finds Hancock. Hancock just inboard. He was looking for Davis, but Maybaum almost intercepted. The ball hit the ground, and then he just had to tie the ball up. Was happy to keep it there. Otherwise, Southport would have been attacking yet again. Hall gets it down in front of Cameron. Some tired bodies starting to emerge. Clements, he's got one arm held by Dawson, the other one held by Stewart, and we'll do it all again. Hall again. Couldn't find Davis coming through. Hall just a little toes it through. Bit of NRL action. Of course, left the AFL and tried to find his way in the NRL with the Cowboys and also Penrith, I think it was.
Absolutely,
Rose just racks it up a couple more champion data touches, and that just takes a right turn. Out of bounds.
He's what you call dexterous. When you start as a high jumper and you get to the level of AFL list and then you go to the NRL, why not?
Well, he can. So he tried it and he's done it. And, what an effort.
Doing it beautifully over Darcy Cameron at the moment. Well played by Stern. I liked his game today. He kicked it long. But Tyler Roos, gee whiz, racking up the stats again. He's had a ripping game. Long kick, punched away. Now Hancock curls the left footer towards forward 50. Well done, Firewood. Handball to Manteet, tackled by Jordan Dawson. Lets loose the ball, does Manteet. Reinhardt picks it up. He lets it go. Now Fife has a ping towards the goal square, and sitting there, the goalkeeper is the Swanee skipper in Colin O'Riordan.
O'Riordan goes to the outer side, has a target out wide, finds one. And out there, just looking to see who that is. He's right side on. It's Wicks. So Wicks goes down the line. Cameron's the big marking target, but Hall came over the back and spiked it out of bounds.
So it is out of bounds. The sun is shining. We're a little bit, well, still a little.
We're betwixt and between.
We're perplexed.
That's what we are.
Perplexed is what we are.
So we're just waiting for.
Let's just call it as it is, gentlemen.
That's exactly. Call it until the whistle blows, and that's what we will do. Is Mitchell Rogers on the outside for Sydney. That's a high up and under. Well done, Reeves. At the ground level, it was rove there by Murdoch, who hoiked it out, but Sydney are going to bring it back in. Towed forward, Tyler Roos intercepts. Now he gives it to, well, it went over the head of Fife. It went to Manteet, who put himself back into trouble. Back to Fife, back to Manteet. Lowers the eyes, drops it around there to Hancock. Picked it up around the ankles, and his kick is intercepted there. Sydney defensive got that covered through Veer House. Ball hits the deck at centre half forward. We'll have another ball up.
Well, on tenterhooks here, really, aren't we? Just waiting to see what the outcome of this is. Ball hits the deck. It's a shepherding free. It'll go the way of Sydney. So Darcy Cameron, he just immediately puts it in the path of Sam Wicks. Down the outer side, outer wing. Just spots up Kilpatrick, but coming through nicely was Clark. Takes a bounce, kicks it the other way, inside forward 50. Ryan Davis, he's been pushed forward in an event to try and impact this contest. The Swans, though, they'll mop it up. Coming that way is Veer House. That left foot is not a good one. That bounces out. What's the umpire going to call? He's going to call, let's have a throw in, because that was a skill error rather than a deliberate.
Yeah, Bree's got hold of it on his left foot, not his preferred side, obviously, the Veer House. So, we're running, 23 and a half minutes into this final quarter. We're none the wiser as to what's happened with the scoreboard, but this is still going down to the wire, I think, as Bell's got the footy.
He gets away. He's a smooth mover, the boy from the Illawarra, kicks it towards the 50. That was well done again. Seb Tape showing all of his experience there. Got the ball back to Clark. Clark chips over the top now to Brodie Murdoch. Has a bounce. Spears a pass to the outer side. Southport retaining the ball. It was well done out there. Clements gives it back to Murdoch. Murdoch chips it down the line. They've got, well, they had the numbers. The ball just didn't make it to the right person. Rayner.
And the Swans come away. He's Stern. Ball just kicked down deep, and Seb Tape is the man. I thought he was going to take a mark there, but he manages to elude his opponent. Kicks it out wide. Who's going to get there first? Coming there is Taylor. Just goes off the ground instead. He follows up his work. Gets a little bit of a block. Dawson comes through. Magnificent tackle. Bailey Stewart. Rose. Now Cameron just clears the area. One-on-one contest. Although three Southport players collide. And winning the free kick will be the Sydney player in Stoddart, who stood nicely under the ball.
Yeah, we've sung his praises all day. Riley Stoddart, the boy from Vic Metro, under 18, 16 disposals, 4 tackles and a goal last week. He's got some real toe, and he uses the left foot to effect long inside 50. It's punched away. Southport have the numbers defensively and put the pressure on. It was Angus Styles who kicked it out of bounds on the full. So the Sharkies with the free kick in the back pocket. Now it's with Clark. Time to have a bounce, time to look up, try to measure a pass. He doesn't get it past Bailey Stewart, who does beautifully to bring the ball to ground. Clements gets it back now to Clayton. Clayton looping handball over the top. Want to get moving to Southport. Brenton Payne gets out of a couple of tacklers. He's got Josh Hall running towards the ball. The big fella picks it up, and he's dropped beautifully by James Rose. Great tackle. Ball stuck underneath him, and we'll get a ball up on the outer side. He hasn't given up all day, James Rose. I reckon he's had one of his better games. 36 disposals and 15 clearances, if you don't mind, from a player on the losing side so far.
Yeah, no, he's been fantastic for the Sydney Swans, and they've had 2 or 3 good players. Southport have had probably a lot more.
A ball from Boston finds Ryan Davis. He wheels around right on 50, kicks it long. Dangerous spot. They need somebody to contest there. And Wilkinson, he was just nicely taken out of the contest, and Colin O'Riordan has saved the day. Been very good again. Kick comes in. Stoddart and Dale. Stewart for the Swans just gets it forward and finds the big fellow. That time in Mitch Rogers. Of course, his uncle, Sean Ballon, Hall of Fame member at Southport. Of course, his father, Andrew Rogers, AFL player with Essendon and also Geelong. Stern, little chipping ball inside forward 50. Elam, he's wrapped up. Good tackle there. Good desperation by Taylor, and he's really come into this game.
I reckon he has too, Kanga. Great defensive work. Straight down the middle, there's Josh Hall. Handball to Mitch Johnson. The half volley, and he chips a pass towards Hancock. Ill-directed. Colin O'Riordan read it beautifully and drills it straight back down the guts towards Schumack. Sydney, as the game has got a bit longer as well, you can see a bit of the speed and skill of some of these academy players.
Ethan.
We'll get on to Kilpatrick. Inside 50, Darcy Cameron takes a mark. Quickly, we'll get down to Ethan Mackey on the boundary. Ethan, what have you got for us?
Well, what a last 10 or 15 minutes we've had down here at ground level since the initial incident with 19 on the field for Southport. We've just been informed that in the bylaws of the NEAFL and AFL, there are rules that state that the score stands as is and doesn't get wiped, as there were initially a few whispers around that may have been the case. So there's been an absolute, it could have been a pin drop around here at ground level for the last 10 minutes. It's just been completely astonishing.
Well, there you go. We'll let the local crowd know that very shortly as Darcy Cameron comes through and misses a goal. So according to the bylaws of the NEAFL and the AFL, the count that happened earlier on in the quarter, the score will stand. There will be no wiping of the score. So Southport are leading by quite the amount. Still putting in the big ones, the young Sydney Swans. Clark plays on, has a bounce. He's had a good one, Kanga too. Kicks it out wide. James Bell takes a mark for the Sydney Swans.
Well, heart in your mouth stuff.
Heart in the mouth stuff.
Oh, well,
we had a crowd of hundreds here who were expecting the score to be wiped from three-quarter time.
Well, it could easily have happened, so that's what the administrators are there for, to work out the rules, and all we do is commentate the game.
So the Swans go down the line. Cameron's the target. He's been pushed forward. Just keeps the ball in play. Stands, props. Kick, looking. Boston sits under it and takes a nice defensive mark. The cavalry arrived for Southport, one of which was Mitch Rogers, but it arrived too late.
How have you seen the game of El Mucho today, Kanga?
Oh, look, I think he hasn't probably had the influence in a lot of ways that he normally would have, and that's not his finest effort from a kick.
Just as I asked the question.
Yes, but serviceable. A couple of tackles, 23 disposals, 6 clearances, 8 inside 50, so you can't sneeze at him just the same. The big El Mucho, he and Seb Tape, the co-captains of Southport, they will be very happy nonetheless. So ball back into play. Elam gets it down. Tyler Roos feeds it back. Here's El Mucho again. Boston, that is, for those who just are foreign to the NEAFL. Inside forward 50 now. That is Flanagan. The attack on the ball was fierce. There is McKellar. It's it down. Rose with the ball. 38 metres. And what a magnificent strike! James Rose, take a bow. He has done it all. 37 disposals, 7 tackles, 15 clearances, 1 inside 50, 7 rebound 50s, and I would suggest the goal of the day.
Yeah, very close to
No
goal
doubt.
today.
No doubt at all. Look at this. He just steps around. Looks like he's running rings around him there on the boundary line, doing the step, and what a beautiful finish. And his skill level is elite. There's no doubt about that. And the Sydney Swans know they've got a player. They just need to get a little bit more consistency out of that boy, and he would be a very, very good player at AFL level.
Oh, yeah, he can be quite enigmatic, James Rose, but you can't deny a bloke who's had 37 touches with 15 clearances and goal of the day from the pocket. You can't deny he's been one of the better players on the paddock. Well done to James Rose. Sydney Swans fighting it out. They are trailing by 54 points as we speak.
Well, I guess the players might know what's going on out in the field, considering we've had some conjecture. So I wonder what the emotion's going to be at full time here from either side.
Well, you'll expect that the runner might have gone out to Southport and let him know as Ryan Davis. Very close to BOG for mine, Bob Batty. He has just mopped it up all day, has Ryan Davis. Gives it out to Seb Tape. Tape now. There's another candidate as well, Tyler Roos, who has now racked up 35 disposals, if you don't mind, from a half-back line, Tyler Roos.
Yeah, no, look, those 3 players have been fantastic, and we just mentioned James Rose's praises as well. Those 4 have been clearly the best 4 players on the ground.
There's Clayton. Handballs it off now. Southport moving it down the outer side. Doran, he's had a good game too. Kanga gets the left footer on and hits his target in Wilkinson.
That was very good by Matt Doran. And Wilkinson, little chipping ball, finds Hancock. Hancock. Go inboard. 1 on 3. Hall is there. The ball comes to ground. That's what you'd like. Reeves for Southport was first there, but set upon. Hall's got it. Now it's knocked clear from him. Fife, he's wrapped up by Bell, and the ball just tied up underneath plenty. So my prediction of Southport winning, and my 3 small forwards in Johnson, Hancock and Wilkinson kicking 8, not quite coming to fruition. They've got 7 between them. Wicks.
Geez. Hard on yourself, Kanga.
I know, that's right. O'Shea tried to make ground, and then it hit the deck. Couldn't quite take the mark. Comes back, Kilpatrick. Ponytail, Akimbo in the breeze. And the ball's kicked forward, and it matters not. It's an interesting dynamic of emotion. Word filtered out to some of the players that Southport are the 2018 NEAFL Premiers, albeit under extraordinary circumstances.
Well, we did have the count in the final quarter, Kanga. There was 18, then there was 19 on the field. They took it out. We read the bylaws. We had the NEAFL and AFL people going through the books, and it's just basically score stands. And the Sharkies, they have won the 2018 NEAFL Grand Final by 56 points, Bob Batty. Their maiden NEAFL Premiership. What a ripping day for the Sharks here at Fankhauser.
Oh, it certainly is, and I suppose everyone was so nervous, even though the score was 56 points. The Southport people and all the supporters really didn't know what the outcome of the game was going to be until late in the quarter. There was that suggestion, and Ty Keneally out there talking to all the officials, Andrew Ireland out there as well.
And let's get down into the fray. Ethan Mackey is standing down there with one of our favourite Southport players. It is the Mexican wrestler El Mucho, Andrew Boston.
Boys, down here at ground level with Southport Sharks captain, premiership captain now, Andrew Boston. Bozo, mate, congratulations. A feeling of elation, I must say. It's a great feeling down here at ground level. What does this mean for you, mate?
Mate, to be honest, it's emotional. It's just emotional. We've worked so hard this year, and to be able to get that win, like I said, it's emotional.
Absolutely, and you've been at this club for a few years now. There's not as many who have, as we see Bozo just celebrating, understandably. The boys loving it. Mate, you've been here for a number of years now. From where you were this time 12 months ago, you were second last. Questions were asked, what are you going to do?
Well,
How has this been turned around to end up looking like this?
Oh, mate, I don't know. It's hard to explain. You know, we had a tough year last year, and got a whole new coaching group, a whole new bunch of blokes in. Yeah, we just work so hard. This group's worked so hard, and we get along so well. You know, we bought into a culture that works, and obviously it worked today. So I can't be more happier.
Absolutely, mate. Fantastic. Congratulations, mate. Go and enjoy it. Get in there.
Well done, Ethan Mackey. The final score is actually 55 points. The Doug Hannell Memorial scoreboard is now fixed up. It's there. Oh boy, it was a dramatic last quarter. Bob Batty with that count. Southport had 19 on the paddock, and at the time led by 10 goals. There was all sorts of talk about their score being wiped. It didn't happen. We had a look in the bylaws and all of the stuff that the executives are getting paid good dollars for, I suppose. But they've come up with this, and have a look at it on screen. The Southport Sharks in the circle, singing their song in the middle of their home ground to celebrate their maiden NEAFL premiership. What a ripping sight it must be.
Yeah, fantastic win to Southport. They were clearly the best team on the day. They had winners all over the ground. They're better players, certainly. Ryan Davis was right up there. Seb Tate, Tyler Roos. Lee Dale was very good. Mitch Johnson kicked a few nice goals. Wilkinson was very good. But look, they had depth of talent, didn't they? Their whole back line was really strong. Brodie Murdoch, Jordan Taylor. You got Ethan Reeves. They didn't let anything through. They didn't even let the wind through, some of those defenders. Yeah. And they certainly deserved their victory. They were the better side all day. And despite some fantastic efforts, certainly from some individuals from Sydney Swans, James Rose was... he was fantastic for Sydney, and Jordan Dawson wasn't far behind him. They had some real tries, and obviously their captain, Colin O'Riordan, was fantastic as well. They were their best three. But look, a well-deserved win. Well done, Southport Sharks. Steve Daniel, all the group down there. Congratulations. Well-deserved flag.
You can see them in amongst there. Aaron Cornelius, former Lion, and Matty Lappin as well. They have really put in the big yards. And how about this? From 9th last year, Bob. From 9th, they were a completely different side. Stephen Daniel comes in, the new assistant coaches, they put the broom through the joint, re-establish a culture, and you can actually see a bloke like Andrew Boston, who grew another leg and another half a moustache as well this year. You can actually see where that rebuilding of the culture was there. We'll go back to the throng down there. I can't see Ethan, but I know he's in there with somebody good. Ethan Mackey.
Thanks, guys. Down here at ground level with the other co-captain of the Southport Sharks, now premiership captain as well, Seb Tate. Mate, congratulations. How does this stack up, mate? What is this feeling?
Yeah, mate, I still don't believe it. Like, from where we've come from, obviously a little bit of an issue in the last quarter, so we don't know what to feel out there. So, yeah, you can see the relief on a lot of the boys, like Bozo. He's been here since he was a kid, so, yeah, we're all buzzing. Yeah, I still don't know how to feel.
Absolutely, and with the week leading up to it, I mean, it was a massive win over Aspley last weekend. You've got a lot of young kids in this side. How was it with the likes of yourself, Ryan Davis, keeping just them level-headed and relaxed going into today's game?
Yeah, mate, we've been really lucky, the guys that we've brought in, the coaches and some of the players. They've played in successful teams, so they really brought that experience to the group, and that sort of really helped settle a lot of the younger guys, myself included, who haven't been near finals for a while. So, so we're buzzing.
Beautiful, mate. Go and enjoy it. Fantastic.
Thank you very much. Thanks, mate.
Well done, Ethan Mackey. He's doing a fine job down there in amongst the celebrations. Of course, there's disappointment for the Sydney Swans. We have the controversy, of course, of the count at the start of the final term. Southport were 10 goals in front and had the game well in hand. And then there was the interchange infringement / extra player on the field. 19 they had. The umpires counted. We went through the formalities. The bylaws do stipulate that the score will stand. I'm not sure if some of the Sydney people will be too happy about that. But I suppose apart from that glaring error from the interchange people, Southport really did dominate the entire day, despite the Swans putting up some really gutsy efforts.
Yeah, look, five listed players and 4 rookie players, and they lost one of those rookies with that injury. Let's hope he's okay. Young Jakey Brown, he copped a real bad one and got stretchered off. And look, it was Southport's day. They were certainly the best team out there on the park. They really worked for each other. They structured up well. Their defence was nearly impassable. And they certainly set that up and set up that big lead at three-quarter time. And no matter what happened, it was a glaring error to have 19 out there at the start of the last quarter. And I'm sure that's something that obviously their coaching staff and all their officials will learn from that mistake, I'm sure. But well done to the Southport Sharks. They finished on the bottom last year and they came through with flying colours in 2018.
I tell you, there's a lot of relieved punters here in the Cabana Lounge because, Bob, we still didn't know what the ruling was going to be with the extra player and the interchange infringement. And where we're broadcasting from on the Cabana Lounge, you actually had about 24 people walk around and stand behind us so they could hear what was going on because they didn't know. And when they got that notification when we announced what was going on, there were a bunch of happy punters walking back to the bar to water bigger ones. And that was it. So they're very relieved here at Southport. Ethan Mackey, he's out there somewhere. Ethan, you're doing a bang-up job. Let's go back into the middle of the crowd.
Thanks, boys. Down here at ground level with Tyler Roos. Tyler, an amazing feeling, mate. Your first year at the club. I know I've dragged you out of the celebrations a little bit, but how does that stack up to what you've been exposed to in the past?
Oh, mate, it's unbelievable. I mean, coming to the club, I think we were second last year and really came with just the expectations to try and start a new culture, and to do this, it's just unbelievable. Can't describe it. It's good feeling.
Absolutely, and a busy day from yourself, mate. And a lot of young guys like yourself throughout this group. Of course, you from the Northern Blues last year, a bit of a difficult year last year with them as well, not getting too many wins on the board. How's it been keeping guys your age and around the young guys in the group, just keeping them relaxed going through this finals campaign? Of course, the Jack O'Sheas of the world, Ethan Reeves, Cody Fobles, those sorts of guys haven't been exposed to a lot of this. How have you sort of, got in their ear and just kept them relaxed and level-headed?
Yeah, it's a bit of a funny dynamic because I guess I'm 22 and I'm one of the older heads, so sort of funny trying to pass on your experience when you don't have too much yourself. But I think just everyone's really kept a lid on it. We've sort of just stuck to the process all year and really just known that if we go about our trademarks and keep going about the things that we know that we do best, then we'll just ticking off wins. And to be honest, we didn't really even think about flag during the year, and then sort of we finished top of the ladder and we had a look and we thought like we've got a red hot crack at doing something special here.
Absolutely, and the old man here today, of course, Paul, coached Sydney to their 2006 premiership and then Melbourne throughout a few years there. Any words of advice before today from the old man?
Oh no, I think he just told me to play my game. I don't actually know where he is. He's been stiff. He hasn't gotten around me yet, so I think this one's pretty good for me. He didn't get a senior playing granny, so I'll have that over him at least.
One up on your old man, mate. You've been a star all year. Congratulations. Another good day. Go and enjoy it.
Appreciate it, mate. Cheers.
There he is, the young man Tyler Roos, son of Paul, and now he says he's got one up on his very famous father. He's got a senior grand final win. Cheeky little bugger. But well done, Tyler Roos. And you can still see the celebrations happening here. They'll go long into the night here at Fankhauser Reserve, Bob Batty, and deservedly so.
Yeah, look, great result there for young Roosie, isn't it? Four Sandringham Dragons boys all played their footy together down there with the Dragons and have come through and are now part of Southport folklore, if you like, with their first NEAFL grand final victory. So they'll be partying long and hard, I'm sure, tonight. But look, they have winners all over the ground. They're a real team, and that's what the culture that Steve Daniel has instilled in this team. So well done, Southport Sharks.
So we're going back down into the throng. Ethan Mackey's down there again.
Boys, down here with Ryan Davis, played a cracking game today, mate. One of the more mature heads in a young sort of a group at the Sharks. What's this feel like? What's the feeling around the group at the moment?
Mate, it's unbelievable. Coming from the round one when we had 15 debutants to a completely new group, the way we've just galvanised under SJ, it's just huge. I mean, the feeling's been great throughout the whole year. We thought we'd just sort of make finals and go from there, but the more we kept winning, the more we kept believing, and we got the job done today.
Fantastic, and of course a big win over Aspley last weekend. That was a critical one to get you guys into the grand final. How did you sort of impact on the younger players in the group throughout the week? Of course, they would have been excited with the prelim win, but just to get relaxed heading into today's game against the Swans.
Yeah, well, it was important to enjoy the win and then straight away learn from it because it's another huge challenge. We've never beaten the Swans as it was documented, so regardless of who they were running out with, it was always going to be a tough contested game.
Yeah, absolutely. And for yourself today, mate, 19 marks. Are you sick of getting the clunks out and taking a few marks, or what's going on there? Just getting a bit of space behind the footy? Is SJ just let you off the leash a little bit behind the footy and get a bit of the footy?
Yeah, Panda's actually given me the best role in the competition, I reckon. Just sit back and let the other blokes take me, man. So I'm very grateful to him for letting me roll around the back.
Absolutely, mate. You might be wearing the Andrew Island medal after this afternoon, mate. You played a cracking game. Go and enjoy it. Thanks for your time.
Thanks very much.
Cheers, mate.
Yeah, good call, Ethan. We'll have the celebrations and the formalities coming up for you very shortly. But Ryan Davis surely has to be in the conversation for the Andrew Island medal. Throw both him, Tyler Roos. You could throw James Rose in there as well with 37 touches on a losing side and 15 clearances, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no doubt at all. They are all very, very good players today. Certainly James Rose in the losing side was right up there, but yeah, Ryan Davis was influential for Southport in the back half. And look, let's just go through a couple of the Swans youngsters there. Joey Reinhardt was good today. Josh Stern, you mentioned. Cooper Kilpatrick. Hamish Allen showed a little bit, didn't he?
Yeah.
And
that's only his fourth game in NEAFL, Bob. Hamish Allen.
No, good effort. And Bailey Stewart was another one that really put his hand up. And look, they'll learn a lot from this. Certainly, young Kai McGrath in only his second game at NEAFL level, an under-17 boy. They'll get some experience out of this today that will certainly hold them in good stead. And let us not forget some of their more senior players. I thought Colin O'Riordan was very good as the captain for the Sydney Swans. James Bell sort of started very well and then faded out a little bit in the second half. Same with Stoddart. Jordan Dawson was quite good, kicked some nice goals. And James Rose, we've mentioned, was very good. Angus Stiles, not as much from him today. Mayborn was tough and solid down back. And look, that's about it. I think we've just about named them all. Darcy Cameron, I think overall won his bout with his opposition player, but I don't think he could take anything away
from Jed Turner.
Oh yeah, Jed Turner was fantastic, and that's 2 weeks in a row he's played against AFL type players and hasn't lowered his collars. So well done, Jed Turner. Well deserved, and he got a premiership medal.
Rightio then, Bob. We're nearly ready for the formal presentations to begin here at Fankhauser Reserve. Both teams have made their way. You can see the Sydney Swans sitting
Ladies
down
and
there
gentlemen,
as Mark Kennedy, our MC, takes over.
just in opening, the NEAFL would like to thank our major partners, Elastoplast, Tribal Sport and Bar TV for their support for the 2018 NEAFL season. Congratulations to the Southport Sharks and also the Sydney Swans for their fantastic seasons, culminating in the grand final here at Fankhauser Reserve. Let's please put your hands together for both sides for a great year. Firstly, I'd like to call up the State Umpiring Manager for New South Wales ACT, Damien Anderson, and the State Umpiring Manager for Queensland, James Waldorf, to present medals to our 2018 Grand Final Umpiring Panel. Our field umpires for this afternoon, Andrew Adair, Nick McGuinness, Brett Ritchie, and the emergency, Matthew Bajan. Our boundary umpires, Alex Donahue, Nick Swanson, Ben Feely, and David Wood. And our goal umpires, Jesse Baird, Taylor Mattioli, and emergency, Matthew Bridges. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please thank our 2018 NEAFL Grand Final umpiring department. And now can I ask a man who has given great service to the game in Northern States, Andrew Ireland, to come up on stage and present the Andrew Ireland medalist for the best on ground. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Andrew Ireland medal from Southport, number 7, Ryan Davis.
Thanks for coming out. Swans, tough gig today. It's probably one of the weirdest games I've been involved in, but only one can win it. To our boys, super effort all year. We've been plugging away. We all come together, new blokes at the start of the year, and we just kept building all year, so huge effort. Well done to the coaches, Panda, bringing us all together. Skin Dog, Ace, super. Thanks everyone for coming out. It's been awesome. Well done.
Congratulations, Ryan. And here to present Southport with the premiership medals to the players and the coach, can I welcome to the stage the long-serving Southport Club President, absolute stalwart and champion of Queensland football, Dr. Alan McKenzie. Running down the order, number 3, Brenton Payne. Number 4, Michael Manteet. Number 6, the man from Tasmania, Dylan Fife. Number 7, and the Andrew Ireland medalist, let's get him back up here, Ryan Davis. Number 10, Josh Clayton. Number 12, played a stellar game in the back half of the ground, Reece Clark. Number 14, also in defence, a long kicking left footer, Brodie Murdoch. Number 15, Jordan Taylor. Number 16, the Dreadlock Dynamo, Lee Dale. Number 17, Mitch Johnson. A few extra Instagram followers for him. Number 19, Jewel Beston Ferris at Labrador, and now at Southport, number 19, Josh Baxter. Number 21, diminutive half forward, goal kicking supremo, Wade Hancock. Adds another premiership to his collection, this time with his second club. Number 23, Jed Turner. The man who set the game alight in the first minute, kicked the first goal of the game, number 26, Cody Firewood. And a good game again also from this man, number 27, Jack O'Shea.
Number 28, small in stature, big in game. He was a tackling machine. Robbie Clements. And number 32, heavily involved up forward, Tom Wilkinson. And number 23, real serviceable participant he was, a very good contributor, Matt Doran. And the man who knocked up getting touches this afternoon, particularly early, number 34, Tyler Roos. Number 45, Ethan Reeves. He started the season a bit late, but he finished with a bang. Number 46, up forward and in the ruck, Joshua Hall. And the co-captains, of course, number 5. I call him El Mucho, otherwise known as Andrew Boston. Stop here, mate. And of course, the other co-captain, he was a rock down in defence this afternoon. Number 8, Seb Tape. And now I'd like to invite the winning coach, Steve Daniel, up to the stage to say a few words. Also collect his medal on the way.
Thanks very much. First of all, to Sydney, I've been in your shoes a couple of times, and it's not a great feeling when you lose a grand final. But look, I've never beaten you before. I always say the Bloods' culture and spirit's just so good, and we've tried to get that over here at the Sharks. And I think we might have got it right this year. So to our boys, look, outstanding. It's great to see so many legends around the football club now with smiles on their face. Well deserved. They've been down for a little while, and I hope you enjoy the night, what's ahead. To the umpires and to everyone coming out and watching here today, obviously it wouldn't be a great day if everyone didn't turn up. So thank you very much, and let's well and truly enjoy the night, boys. It's what we do.
Thanks very much, Stephen. And now, it's my pleasure to invite Dr. Alan McKenzie to present the 2018 NEAFL Premiership Cup to the winning team, Southport Sharks. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our presentations. Would you please thank the Sydney Swans and congratulate our premiers, Southport. On behalf of everybody at the NEAFL, we thank you for your support in season 2018, and we'll see you again next year.
Well done, our MC, Mark Kanga Kennedy, showing his dexterity, bolting down to MC the event after co-calling it with my good self. Well, there you go, the Southport Sharks. Their inaugural NEAFL Premiership, and they achieved it by doing something they haven't ever done before. They have beaten the Sydney Swans today at Fankhauser Reserve, and they have beaten them very well by 55 points. Ryan Davis, the former West Coast and Gold Coast listed player, 35 games of AFL experience, was adjudged the Andrew Ireland Medal for best on ground. They had a plethora to choose from. They did Southport, their co-captain Andrew Boston, Tyler Roos, and plenty of others. Wilkinson, Johnson up forward. They had a cracking day. Seb Tape as well. They thoroughly deserve this, and we must mention once again the brilliant effort of the assistant coaches in Aaron Cornelius and Matt Lappin, part of Stephen Daniels' magnificent coaching department, who not only transformed a football squad in one off-season, but transformed a culture where they went from second last to minor premiers and then NEAFL premiers in 2018. Magnificent job from the Southport Sharks. Great scenes here at Fankhauser Reserve as you see some of the young lads, including Tyler Roos and Josh Clayton there with the cup, posing for photos with Wilkinson and Clark. They absolutely love it. They put in the big ones, and they have done it well. It has been a magnificent day here at Fankhauser Reserve for the culmination of the 2018 Tribal Sport NEAFL Finals Series, the grand final between the Southport Sharks and the Sydney Swans. And there's been a great season of effort from all involved with the NEAFL. Simon Lawton, Luke Gaddy, Jess Webster, Brad Howard, all operational with the NEAFL, and their band of assistants in Justin Lillycrap, Cameron Smith. On behalf of the NEAFL TV team, Mark Kennedy, Bob Batty, Ethan Mackey, our southern counterparts in Eddie Summerfield, and all the good blokes from Bar TV as well, our broadcast partners. We have thoroughly enjoyed this 2018 season of NEAFL here at Fankhauser Reserve. It has been absolutely magnificent. Thoroughly enjoyed this state league football. As I say, when you can get some of the most famous clubs in and around us, New South Wales and Queensland, as far as Southport, Aspley, all of those guys in amongst the AFL clubs, and they're all mixing it up together. It's a magnificent competition, and surely the equal of your VFLs, Sandfulls, Waffles, all around the rest of the country. But we're just about to wrap up here at Fankhauser Reserve, the end of the 2018 NEAFL Grand Final Series. Ethan Mackey's lost underneath there with Mark Kanga Kennedy. Methinks I might lose them both for the end of night celebrations here on the Gold Coast. They're even posing for some photos down there as well. So we will wrap it up right now. On behalf of all of the good people, Bar TV, the NEAFL staff, and our supporters at Elastoplast, I'm Michael Price. This has been a ripping 2018 NEAFL season. Look forward to streaming live for you on NEAFL TV through Bar TV next year in 2019. Southport premiers for 2018 by 55 points.